Yeah, we're live.
Hello, man, babies. Well, that was unexpected. We're just cutting the crap in the green room, and I was expecting a 30-second countdown, and a bit like the fans were expecting a decent Star Wars trilogy and didn't get one. But these things happen in life. Anyway, welcome one and all. This is the gang. I'm going to do the introductions, but obviously you can see them all on screen. But today you are all here for this momentous occasion. We are discussing the probably the second greatest Star Wars film ever made, The Rise of Skywalker. So there we go. There's our little title slide for you all. So yes, momentous occasion. We have lots of slides to get through, lots of discussion points, and also a drinking game. So green milk at the ready, man, babies. I will explain the drinking game shortly. But first of all, let me do the formal introduction. So Mr. Brown has kindly supplied the introduction. So it says, hey, Ruin, you may need to check for syntax and spelling. Oh, no, sorry, don't read that bit. It says, hello, Star Wars fans. Today is Saturday, 30th of April, and welcome to a very special live stream. It's been 6 months in the making, which is longer than the writing time for the masterpiece that is The Last Jedi. Not true. I did it in about 2 weeks. But anyway, today we review the substandard J.J. Abrams Rise of Skywalker, hosted by my good self, Ruin Johnson. So, who have we got with us today? As always, we have our panel of guests. So let's bring them out. Although, as you can see, they're already out, well and truly out the closet today. Yeah. So let's go through the room as such, a bit like a Holdo maneuver. Let's just blast our way through this. So first up, the Force is female, and here is the proof. She's the Padme of the channel. She's the Rey Skywalker of the Star Wars universe, all the way from Tatooine. It's Princess Reni. Welcome, Reni.
Hey, Ruin. Thank you. I would rather identify as Padme than Rey. Just want to put that out there. But glad that you're hosting. Hopefully Brown doesn't micromanage too much, but he can't help himself. Still love you, Brown. Just saying.
We probably need him in fairness, but hey, we're all Rey Skywalker tonight, Reni. Don't worry about that. So good to have you on. Reni, your thought? Well, firstly, how many times have you seen this masterpiece of a movie?
Only once, and it was through the kindness of a YouTuber that said, if anybody wants the copy I've got, I'll mail it to you or email it to you or send it to you via DM. So I got the China version, which doesn't include the lesbian scene, sad face. But it was very kind. Yeah, right. It was very kind because I wasn't going to pay for the damn thing, so at least I got to see it for free. But yeah, that one and only one time.
Okay, so I'm just typing to our legal team, and they'll be in touch with you, Reni. So letting them all know. Okay,
see
well,
you guys
we look.
In hell. No, just kidding.
We look forward to your thoughts as we plow through this movie scene by scene. Okay, so next, set your Jedi power wands to stunning and brave. Your Photoshop automation to full power. We have the wonderful, my greatest fan in the universe. It's not Brian Young. Hello, Brian.
Hey, good evening, Ruin. Good evening, fellow guests. Good evening, chat. How are we all?
Fabulous. And we're all half cut already, of course.
Yes.
But, so what's your tipple of choice, Brian? I'm interested. Is it a bit of bourbon and iron brew? What do you drink up in those wastelands of Glasgow?
I'm a Jack Daniels fanatic. No ice cubes because it rattles slightly on the stream, but I'll be getting stuck into that today. And by the looks of the drinking game that's coming up, I could well be paralytic by halftime.
Yes, well, there's plenty of options to have a drink tonight. That's for sure. Okay, let's move on. I wonder who we've got next. This is going to be such a surprise, but let's see. Okay, next up, we see conflict within him. There is good inside this next guest. It's the Dark Sith Lord Chord.
Is that your Sith name, Lost Chord?
Tell me you don't play
Lord
music.
Chord for tonight. I don't care what anyone says.
Jesus Christ. How much have you had to drink?
Brownie, will you spell check this goddamn script before you send it over? Sorry, Lost Chord. I was too busy thinking about my trilogy. How are you, my friend?
I was happy with the Sith part, and I wasn't so sure about the good in him part. But I probably can't take the chord bit just because it isn't a word.
Oh dear, I know. I had a Ruin Johnson moment there. How many times have you seen this god awful mess of a movie, Lord Chord?
Weirdly, I don't remember. I think 3 times, and last night was the 3rd. And it's amazing. I saw so much in it that I didn't see the first 2 times, and absolutely none of it was good. So it was great fun.
Oh, well, you're going to enjoy yourself tonight. So, have you got your drinking tipple at the ready?
I do. I'm a Johnny Walker guy. Breakfast of Champions.
Oh, wow. Okay, we've got a real authentic alcoholic with us tonight. That's good to hear. Okay, my friend, enjoy yourself. And last but no means least, no, Brownie, you've cocked up this goddamn script. I can see 2 more people. Oh, God, okay, well, I'll do this one and then I'll make the last one. Last but no means least, although we do have yet another one, he's the wise elder of the rebellion, soon to be starring in his own television, where he will be retconning our favourite franchise. It's the Obi-Wan mega geek Kenobi.
Jesus Christ.
It was all over the shop.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Brownie's probably drunk when he wrote that, right? Probably. Yeah. Are you going to ask me how many times I've seen this film?
I want to know how many times you've seen it. I want to know whether you're wearing pants today or whether you're just chilling out. And I want to know what you're drinking. And then once you've done that, we can wish you farewell and we'll get on with it.
Oh, well, I'm completely naked. And I saw it twice. I saw it once when it came out, and I really thought it was really bad. And then I had to see it with my sister because she insisted. And I've seen it twice, yeah.
She insisted. Okay.
Yeah, well, she hadn't seen it, so she's like begged me to go with her. So I went with her. I fell asleep. She just watched it.
Sibling abuse, terrible
That's
thing.
Right. Yeah, no,
okay. Well, we do look forward to your critique of this Mega Geek. But we said last but least, but as you'll all notice, there's one more chap on the screen. He's your favourite android. He is the golden rod himself. It's Zee-ThreePO. Welcome aboard, Z3.
Sir, how could any of you forget me?
You're not gonna, just looking at your last thing of your friends, aren't you? Or something like that.
You're not Darth Chord, so
yeah.
Sorry, Lost Chord. That's just so funny.
Please
don't hate me.
We'll never live that one down. Yes, well, Z3, I hope you've got the memory wipe device at the ready, having once you've endured this one more time. What's your tipple tonight? Is it standard oil, or are you going for something a bit more dangerous?
Oh, Superloop, sir.
Of course.
Mine's is Ribena, so there you go. Mine's is Ribena, so there.
On the Ribena, right. We are really rocking and rolling. So, okay, so we talked about drink quite a lot. So let me bring up the rules of the drinking game. So all you man babies in the chat, and welcome to you all. It's good to see you all already taking part. So the rise of Shite Walker drinking game. So as we plow our way through this movie, and in order to make it somehow more entertaining, we are going to take a drink every time Finn shouts Rey, which I did a count on this. It happens 29 times in the movie, so there's 29 shots already. We're going to take a drink every time there's a logic fail, so keep your eyes open.
Just never stop drinking in that case.
You might need an intravenous drip in your arm just to keep up with it.
What if I run out of alcohol?
Well, I don't know what to resort to. You'll have to pee into your pint glass and start drinking that back again. I don't know.
It would still be better than The Last Jedi. So.
Still leave a better aftertaste than The Last Jedi. Okay, you're going to take a drink every time a pointless character comes on screen, which is approximately every 93 seconds. You're going to take a drink every time Rey is being the bestest. Take a drink every time an actor wants to be anywhere but on the set of this goddamn movie. And finally, take a drink whenever there's an insult to George's legacy. So I'm going to ask you all to remember this. Give us a prompt in the chat if you notice any of these moments as we go through. And yes, let's all get plastered. Are we ready to do this?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
No.
So, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, 2019 movie. It's 12A. It's a runtime of 2 hours 21. It was released 6 days before Christmas, 19th of December, and directed by, unfortunately, not my good self, Ruin Johnson. Directed by J.J. Abrams. Screenplay by Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams. Story by Derek Connolly, Colin Trevorrow, J.J. Abrams, and Chris Terrio. Based on the on the characters by George Lucas, I should say. Produced by JJ and Kathy. Music by the one and only John Williams. Special effects by ILM. And starring Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lord Chord, Anthony Daniels, Ian McDermott, Billy D. Williams, and Richard E. Grant. The budget for this fantastic movie, $275 million, and it grossed just over $1 billion, apparently, allegedly, somehow. So there we go. There's all the running stats for you all. So, Mr. Brown in the smallest font known to man.
Oh my
want you all to please
gosh.
share and subscribe.
If you can read it.
At least that's what I think it says. Although I normally can't read the bottom line when I go for my eye test, but I think that's what we've got. Here's the movie poster for this wonderful film. Almost Rey being decapitated by 2 lightsabers. Shame that didn't happen in the movie.
Now that would have been an amazing scene.
What an
She would
opener
have
that would have
survived.
been.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could have at least put her head in a jar like what is it, Futurama? But yeah.
She would have survived that. Definitely.
Oh, look, I can see Master Finn on this poster.
Just about.
Not the Chinese version. You're absolutely right, Z3.
Yeah.
Yes. So here we go. We're just going to get straight into this, man, babies. We've got a lot to get through here, and the ice in my drink is melting. So here we go. Opening crawl. Z3 is our narrator. Could you please do the honor and take us through the opening crawl?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which means everybody in this movie is dead.
Ba, 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 ba.
The dead speak. The
Drink,
galaxy has
drink,
heard.
everyone drink. Logic fail.
Drink.
Logic fail. Go ahead.
It's already a disgrace to George's legacy. Take a drink.
It's also that.
The dead speak, indeed, in Fortnite for some reason.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, actually, we've not started at the beginning, have we? Because we should really have started with the bit where Palpatine speaks to the galaxy in Fortnite, because without that scene, the opening crawl of this film actually makes no sense. So maybe Brown didn't cue that up, but just throwing that out there. Fortnite is the actual beginning of Traz.
So is Fortnite canon in the Star Wars universe?
It's supposed
Here it
to be,
is.
yeah. That's what Disney intended.
Good God. Okay, I don't know, but anyway, I'll pretend to know what Fortnite is, but carry on, Z3.
The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge, in the sinister voice of the late Emperor Palpatine.
Already
Oh, we need to drink there, don't we?
It's basically every sentence.
Yeah.
General
Already
Leia
needing-
Organa dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence, while Rey, oh God, Rey,
Drink.
the last hope
Drink.
of the Jedi, trains for battle against the diabolical First Order.
The diabolical First Order, yes. Diabolical's a rather appropriate. Last paragraph, Z.
Meanwhile, Supreme Leader Emo Ren rages in search of the Phantom Emperor, determined to destroy any threat to his power.
Excellent. And then there we go. We open on this. They always like a wide shots, space, planet, ships, and so on. And we open on this one. So Brian, let me bring you in. Brian, take me back to that moment, December 2019. You're in the theater or wherever the hell you were illegally streaming this thing. How excited were you, and what was your initial impression?
Not at all. There was actually, you never asked me how many times I've seen this film. Believe it or not, I've probably seen it more than all the other guests combined. I've seen it a total of 9.5 times. Believe it or not.
What the fuck? Like, seriously, why would you do that to
Well, I had to.
yourself?
I just wanted to pull it to bits. And anyway.
Oh my God, Brian! I'm so sorry.
Well, having to relive it again for the slides and for today's stream was very, very difficult again. But I decided early on that I wasn't going to see episode 9. However, after hearing John Williams' score on a TV spot, I think I stood up like the Manchurian Candidate and rushed to see it in an opening night, despite what I said I was going to do. It was a pretty surreal atmosphere, I have to say, and the place was only about a quarter full. Absolutely no one had purchased all the merchandise that was on display in the theatre. As for the movie itself, after 2.5 years, I still cannot believe that this exists, to be honest. J.J. Abrams is famous for his mystery boxes and soft reboots. He's probably about the last person in Hollywood that I would trust to end a 42-year-old saga, or any saga for that matter. But the pacing in the first act alone is absolutely terrible. He retcons Anakin's sacrifices, shits all over the lore and the continuity, and pretty much hammers the final nail in the coffin. Although, amazingly, that being said, I actually enjoyed a few moments in The Rise of Skywalker, although probably for all the wrong reasons. I think I said it to you before, and I liken it to a football fan enjoying their team stringing a few successful passes together late in a European tie when the team is already 8-1 down in aggregate. It might be nice to look at, but the whole thing is absolutely fucked. Yeah, I thought.
Oh dear.
I thought
Brian, you make an interesting point. It's another challenge I want to set to you all today, because obviously we're going to rip the absolute shit out of this movie. But the challenge is, what can you find that's positive about this movie? So as we go through it, I do want you all to work very hard, and anything where you feel might be a positive element to the movie, I want you to vocalize that. So
well, here's
okay,
one
so we're
immediately where we are at the moment, because Kylo Ren has evidently put a lot of work in on the dance floor, and he's got the moonwalk down.
Oh, the moonwalk, of course, the moonwalk kill. You're right.
It's a pretty good moonwalk. I'll say that for it.
Oh, you like that moment? Okay.
Oh no, no. I definitely didn't say that. I just said the moonwalk was good.
Well, I've got you on record saying you like that particular scene, so it's too late now to go back in it. Am I right in saying, although maybe I remember this wrong, although I only watched it literally 2 hours ago, when he does the moonwalk kill on this man, does he actually stab him in between his own legs? Is that how he does it, or is it? I can't. It just seems utterly ridiculous.
It's not quite as bad as that. It was bad enough.
Oh, okay, shame. That's how I would have done it.
I would have done it up the butt crack, slice him right in half.
So we've got Kylo Ren losing his shit in this planet and just killing people for fun, and then he finds the Wayfinder. Does this fulfill any of our drinking requirements? I feel it's just
150% yes.
Yes, I think.
How can he be the son of beautiful Princess Leia and dashing
look like a
Han
foot?
Solo? And he looks like he really doesn't look like he's just an ugly man. Let's face it, he really is.
Yeah,
Can't
as a
believe
heterosexual woman, he is an ugly man. Yes.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Who cast this guy in the movie? I just don't understand. That's just one of many problems this film has. Well, the whole saga has, actually. The whole new saga has, but there you go.
The word "many" is doing some heavy lifting in that sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe they disowned him because both of them secretly thought he was adopted, or that he'd one of them had been sleeping around, which is why.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And
That's probably why Han Solo left. He's like, that's not my kid. He looks nothing like me.
He doesn't. He's just horrible. Anyway.
So while I've got you, Mega Geek, I'm so interested to get your take on this whole Wayfinder device mechanism, actual mechanism and plot mechanism. What do you make of this as a method JJ uses to almost navigate us through his convoluted plot?
Well, it's I almost vomited in my mouth just now. It's just crap, isn't it? I mean, it's just really bad writing. They just put this in there so it can connect to the next scene and give reasons for another scene and give reasons for certain things that happen. So it's just rubbish. I've never ever seen a script that's so badly written than this movie. I swear, the whole concept of this movie is absolutely bonkers, isn't it? Somebody that died in the third movie is back for no good reason whatsoever. We literally saw him die. He fell down a shaft, blew up, right? The whole of the Death Star blew up. So how the fuck did this guy survive? I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
Now, I will
Somehow.
say, like in the original EU, they brought him back, but it made sense. They did like a clone version of him or whatever. It made a lot of sense in the books. This doesn't make any sense. And they even show him with like some fingers broken off. It's like, oh, okay, so you went and you got exploded like in the freaking engine, but all you lost was a couple fingers. That's awesome.
But also, if you remember, the Death Star blew up, right? It literally blew up. How could it have bits? Like, how could those bits survive? You literally saw it get blown to nothing.
He used the Force to fuse his body together while it was falling apart.
There actually is in the Old Republic game a Sith Lord who can do that. Isn't that Darth Bane? But there's the extent of the justification in this film is literally a prequel meme. That's the amount of thought that goes into it. It's an internet meme. Just do that. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities, some considered to be unnatural.
Well, you know what, right? You know what, Lord? I personally don't think it's JJ's fault, right? I don't like JJ, yes. Well, recently I don't like it. I used to think he was quite talented when he made Fringe and all those other great stuff that he made. Well, apart from Lost, that was bollocks.
I was going to say I hated him after Lost.
Yeah, I like Fringe though, and also I like the Mission Impossible film that he was involved with as well. He has a certain amount of talent, but I don't think it's his fault. He was basically given a turd to polish. That's what he was given because of what Ruin did to the other one. So he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. What else can you do? You just have to ride the wave in and just hope you don't get covered with too much shit. That's all. And that's what he did.
I mean, the only thing I'd leverage against that is that actually he didn't really ride the wave in. The wave was coming at him and it was a tsunami.
Yeah.
And instead of riding it and going with it, he turned into it and shouted. And that was his style. So, I mean, he was left an incredibly bad hand with the ending of The Last Jedi. But for this film, you don't necessarily have to consciously go and retcon as much as it was really entertaining. It's the only thing I objectively like about this film is the fact that it tries so overtly to retcon The Last Jedi. But if you're trying to write a story which coheres and continues, you generally don't go and overtly shit on the one that came before it, and that was his decision. So, he was left a bad hand, but I think he could have done. Anyone
he could have done better, but that's the thing you see, Lord. That's the thing you see. He basically was under the control of Kay, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So he didn't really have a choice. He really didn't have a choice, and I reckon he came up with some good ideas, and she just vetoed it.
Well, he could have quit.
We could have, but I think he was under contract. So,
but
that's
that doesn't
the thing.
Stop people sometimes. I don't know.
Well, if he quits, then he gets sued, and then that means he doesn't have any money, and that means he gets to live on the streets, and all that stuff. So I don't really put the blame on him. He did a bad job on his film, yes, but I think the blame solely falls at KK's feet. Definitely, I don't think anyone can argue with that, right?
No, I agree.
She's the leader of a sinking ship. Okay, so let me drag you back to the semblance of a storyline in this movie. So we had a Kylo kicking arse, going emo crazy shit on some random characters, and now he's making his way to this planet, dragging his lightsaber along. And we know where he's going. He's going to meet the man they've brought back. They've literally dug him out of his grave to bring him back. And I want to bring Z3 in at this moment. So Z3, can I get your thoughts on JJ's whole idea of bringing back the Emperor? What do you make of that?
Oh, sir, it is a steaming pile of dog turds. I mean, the Return of the Emperor, none of it at all is foreshadowed, not in either of the previous two films.
Was it his idea?
Well, it's literally something that they've plucked out of their arse. I mean, don't forget the original director of this, Colin Trevorrow, was forced out by Kathleen due to creative differences. So it's didn't go down all too well, did it? And so he's kind of shoehorned him in as, member berries. Here's some keys for us to jangle. And away you go. Who saw this coming? Not me.
I think the original villain was Matt Smith.
Yes.
So they
That's the
shot like
rumor.
half of the movie. Well, not half the movie, but a lot of stuff with Matt Smith. And then they just literally got rid of all that stuff because KK stepped in and changed everything. I mean, don't make no mistake. She has ultimate power over Star Wars. She has the dark side of the Force. And she literally wrecked the 3 movies.
I mean, it was rumored that Smith was supposed to be playing somebody like Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which a lot of people hypothesized, that was what was going on. And it would have been something that I would have liked to have seen developed along with Finn's character, which wasn't.
Would have been better than what we got. So yeah.
But if the Emperor can project himself into Kylo Ren's head, why did he say, "Oh, go to Mustafar, pick up this McMuffin, plug it into your ship, and come here," and not just go, "Here I am."
Another drink, then.
Oh,
because he needed the McMuffin to fly through the evil red space placenta thing. But
couldn't he approach?
He could have gone around it. Obviously, he could have flown around it, but the film doesn't believe that that's possible because it thinks space is kind of a linear dimension. So, because of that setup, he needed
like the congestion charge, was it?
That's basically what it is. It is like navigating the roads in London, and actually slightly less dangerous than that. But just to clear that, was it actually Mustafar then? Because I don't remember there being any trees on Mustafar, and I also don't remember in the shot of Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith there being another planet so close by to it either.
Apparently there was going to be a scene with Darth Vader's castle there, which was also based on Mustafar, and that was his wayfinder, allegedly, apparently.
But instead they hid it in a plinth in the middle of a wood.
I never understood how they dried up all the lava, how they got it to get greener, and how did that happen within maybe 50 years?
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities considered to be unnatural.
Somehow it happened, I think is all we can say.
Can I ask, what's going on in this scene? Is he breeding Snokes as sex dolls or something? I've got a spare in case the original one gets broken.
Yes, he does seem to have a whole collection of Snokes going on. I mean, after the first one didn't work, what's the plan next? I'll roll out the next one. Yes, very bizarre. I mean, I invite your thoughts on this whole Snoke in a giant test tube idea, and was this really JJ's only option after I so brilliantly destroyed the main villain of the movie of the series in the second movie? Was there any other option here, or I don't know? What's the please do contribute on this.
It's, as I said, it's obvious that KK destroyed this film. I'm pretty sure JJ had better ideas than this. Everybody likes to rail on JJ, right? Yes, he's been a twat, recently. But as I said, if you look at his previous work before all this crap happened, he was quite a good director and a quite good producer as well. But as I said, I suspect it solely falls on KK, all this stuff. They had a decent story, apparently, for this movie. And KK stepped in and changed a lot. And demanded things being changed because the Force is female. Do you know what I mean? So that's that. I reckon that's what happened. I don't know about you guys.
I don't think JJ's direction is really a problem in this film. It's entirely down to the script writing, which obviously he's involved in part, but there's so many great shots in this film. And that's kind of gloss over. I didn't even notice it really until I started doing the slides. But definitely the problem does lie in the writing, and sorry, ruin what came before.
Oh, very dare you! Yes, well, I didn't really give JJ much option to craft anything of any quality, but there we go. Okay, so let's move on, and we've got Kylo Ren. So he actually confronts the Emperor here, doesn't he? And he almost threatens to chop his nuts off. So this is an interesting scene. So Darth Sith lost Chord. Could you give us your thoughts on this this compelling moment? We have Kylo and the Emperor come face to face, two of the biggest baddies in film history. What do you make of it all?
Well, you've got one of the biggest baddies in film history, and it's one of the many astonishing things about this film is that they've made the Emperor, they've reduced the Emperor to the status of those prequel memes that you see online. That's the extent of his character involvement here. I'm going back to the point about the Snoke clones and what else could have been done to set this particular moment up. You could theoretically, hypothetically go and find a different way of explaining how the Emperor has been behind Snoke from the beginning without saying that he literally cloned Snoke and was simultaneously all the voices Kylo's ever heard inside his head. That is probably the worst thing you could possibly have done with that setup, because it invites you to ask so many questions. If you can clone Force users of that power, why not clone many, many more of them and have an entire army of Snokes? Wouldn't that be a useful thing to do? Why, if you're the voice in Kylo's head anyway, do you need a sock puppet in Snoke to actually tell him to do stuff? Why not bring him to Exegol earlier and train him yourself? And when he does finally turn up and he goes to threaten to kill the Emperor, not for any reasonably set out cause, and the Emperor says, yeah, don't mate, because I've got some ships, and then Kylo says, yeah, fine, okay, and that's it. But okay, why does he could kill the Emperor and maybe take over the ships from that, or the Emperor could kill him, given what we learned later about his goal to become renewed in the body of one of these new heroes. Why doesn't the Emperor just have Kylo kill him? Why does he not use Kylo in many other ways? There's no reason for the Emperor to be doing what he's doing, or for Kylo to be doing what he's doing, and so of course it's what we get from JJ. It makes no sense, but there we are. Drink.
Drink, everybody. Yes, I've got the rules right in front of me, and we've maybe missed a few already. But yes, it's certainly a logic fail at the very least. But, okay, so Reni, I want to know your thoughts on Palpatine, and obviously, you know, we've not just the return of the old character, but the return of the original actor. I mean, can we give any credit here to the performance, to the visuals? What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think Ian McDiarmid is an amazing actor. And I think he signed on without realizing how stupid his role would be in this movie and how ridiculous the plot would be. He figured that his fan base would probably be excited to see him. That's why I think he signed up. And of course, you know, money. He's a great actor. Horrible script. Dumb idea. If they had done the plot line that they did in the EU, now called Legends, I think it would have worked. But you would have had to have a couple more movies to set that up, and you didn't. It's just like, oh yeah, I just like had a couple of fingers blown off, but I'm totally good. You know, I mean, I got the dark side, bro. And to have something like a Force dyad, which is the dumbest thing in the world, you know, or to create a Force FaceTime
that was great.
Was retarded. I'm sorry. No, I don't know how else to say that. From California, I still use that term. But, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And I think if he had actually read the script ahead of time, he probably would have told them to go shove it up their butts. That's just me.
Can I just check? Are we still live after Reni used the R word there? Is that taking us down? I don't know, but
you won't run out on it. Just quickly, because obviously, you know, we said, and I think, you know, I'd agree with Mega Camperan that JJ has some fantastic shots in his repertoire. But actually, they play against Palpatine in every scene Palpatine's in, because Ian McDiarmid, as Reni says, is, you know, he is quite a capable actor, but it's also one of the defining things in the prequels. It's one of the only objectively good things about the prequels is the way he camps it up, but he also carries it through, and he makes every scene his own. But in this film, you don't get to see his performance because the film is intent on trying to give you epilepsy. So at no point do you actually see Ian McDiarmid acting without just flashing white lights, and it's a waste of a good performer as well as of a good character.
But also, right, you got to understand filmmaking. And you say it's got fantastic shots in it, but that's not down to JJ. Yeah, JJ might approve the shots. So that's down to the visual effects guys. That's down to the the, you know, the storyboards and stuff like that. It's not really down to him, even though he will claim credit for it, and quite rightly so, because he's the director. But you have to understand these things. I remember once I was on one stream, and they were talking about a certain show, and they were saying it was well directed. But you can't come to that conclusion unless you know how to direct, unless you know how things are directed and what is good direction. So people say, oh, that's good direction because something looks good on screen. But that's not directing. That's down to the DOP. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to say things like it's a nice shot of the ship, that's not really down to him, really. It's down to the visual effects guys and whoever came up with that concept. That's all I'm saying. I'm stopping now anyway. So.
No, that's good. I'm all for finding new opportunities to take credit away from JJ. So
I do have a question, Lost Chord. What did you say you were drinking today?
I'm on Johnny Walker Black.
Same here. I thought that's what you said.
I'll raise a glass over the many miles.
Well, raise a glass to this scene of Palpatine's hands, because what the hell is going on here? I guess all you need is a middle finger, hey, as long as you've got that digit.
But you know what? That reminds me of what's her name's feet, Captain Marvel's feet.
Larson.
God, no. Please.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of spicy knickknacks.
You like a spicy knick-knack.
Oh dear. And Z3, while I've got you, sir, can I get you to read out this next comment? It's my favorite one from the chat so far. And evening, all you people in the chat. I see you all. I'm trying to share all your comments, but this one was a particular gem. Please do the honors, Z3.
Biggotmore in the chat says, if this film had a face, I'd Will Smith it.
Very topical, very good. Well done. Britain's Got Talent more. I do appreciate that. Okay, so let's get rid of Brie Larson's feet. I don't know how that slide got in. That's, I hope Brownie hasn't opened the wrong folder on his laptop, and I don't know what's coming next now. I dread to think.
Shocking stuff coming next.
Oh, we've got here we go. This is where the Star Destroyer fleet rises from the Earth. I should point out we're on slide 18. We've just got 673 to go. So I hope no one's
God, are you kidding?
Tonight. We're making.
Why would they
progress.
be hiding? Are they hiding underground? These things?
Apparently so. Yes.
Why?
Did they hollow it all out? Did they make hollow bunkers and build them underground? What's going on here?
It's so stupid. This story is so stupid. Ugh.
Not just underground, but under the ice. Sorry,
Why would
Ren.
you bury it? That
Why?
doesn't make any sense. How does it function? How does the ice not get into the engine parts, or clog up the exhaust pipes, or
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many of them.
Shut up, Z.
I sometimes wonder if he thought like this would make a great visual.
That's what I'm saying.
Didn't actually think whether it makes any logical sense. Take a drink, man, babies, because there's a
totally.
lot to fail.
That's totally what they've done. They've literally given you beautiful shots, but not thought about the reason for them. That's all they've done in this film. If you look at Empire Strikes Back, every shot in that film was there for a reason. You know what I mean? And they had scenes in it where ships were flying and beautiful John Williams music went with it. You know what I mean? And in this film, they fly now. You know what I mean? All that crap and FaceTime, Force time, when he could have just grabbed something off her or grabbed her. You know what I mean? It just, none of it makes any sense. It's just so shit.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to try and attempt to do the impossible and stick up for this goddamn movie. Can we give any credits? And I'm going to direct this at you, Brian. I'm hoping you're drunk enough to get the right answer out of you. Can we give any credit to the visuals here? We see Ethan Van Driver in the comments says ILM are magicians. Is that something we can doff our caps at to this movie, some of the visual effects?
Yes, absolutely. I think the film looks absolutely stunning. I hate to say that. I know you probably won't like that, but I really do. And as Ian says, a lot of that credit is from behind the scenes, especially if you're a fan of the art department, or the art of books, rather. You'll see how good the art department actually are. And it's a shame that the writing isn't even half as good as the artwork, because I think we'd be okay.
It's true. Absolutely true.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's. Here we go. It's rather typical of JJ. This, if if in doubt, go bigger or create more of them, and this is rather typical of that. We have this vast skyline of Star Destroyers,
and let's also bear in mind that from this point onwards to the final battle, none of them have worked out which way is up. From this point onwards,
There is one because it goes to Kajimi, doesn't it? But that's the only one that figured out which way it was up. So promotion for that, Commander.
But if all these ships were here, what happened in the second film? Why weren't they, or even the first film? Why didn't they help? Oh, I just give in. This is just ridiculous. Such stupid.
And
We're at 39 minutes. I'm already finished my second glass of Captain Morgan's, and they were both doubles. So this could get fun with the amount of buttons I have to press for this stream. But okay, let's cycle it on. And here we go. At last, we get away from all the dark stuff, and we get to our favourites characters, Chewie and Poe and Finn. And I don't know if he shouts Rey in this scene, but I think we should just take a drink anyway, because when you see Finn, if he's not shouting it, he's thinking it, let's be honest. But it opens with maybe a bit of a member berry. They're playing the old, I don't know what the I'm sure Lost Chord will know, but the chess game, yes, I don't know what the exact term is. But yes, so here we go. I mean, one observation from myself, Chewie looking rather thick in this movie, rather heavy set. We'll notice it particularly when he's on the desert planet, and it's not like Star Wars to feature a desert planet. But
is that Poe?
Yes,
it is.
God, that doesn't look like him at all.
Yes, unless the Emperor made a rather dodgy
Who is that?
recreation of Poe. I don't know.
Double?
That's not him. That doesn't look anything like him.
Is this the image from the film, or is this an image from Galaxy's Edge or something? I don't know.
I don't know. How weird is that?
Yeah, it's just maybe just the shot, but it's definitely him.
Yeah. Oh, it's him, is it?
Yeah.
It just looks weird. It looks like, I don't know. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, God.
Okay, so we get this, this rather kind of icy image, the Millennium Falcon as it flies towards this. I don't know what we'd call it, but they're always looking for earth, water, wind, fire. Just recycle the four elements there, and then we get this little character. He's do we call him a spy, or he's certainly helping out the resistance?
He's the informant, isn't he?
The informant. That's the one. Yes.
Can anyone give me the actor's name who does the voice for this?
Do we care?
I did know,
Yes.
and I've forgotten.
I was gonna say.
God golly, I do know this.
That's not the Mark Hamill one, is it?
It is. That's it. That's Mark Hamill.
Reni got it. Well
Which,
done.
if you've been listening to his Joker voice over the years, it's really fucking distracting when you hear it. Win the war.
It's like, oh, I know who that is. You don't even have to tell me. Yeah.
Do you ever get the feeling that they created this character to sell as a toy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
With detachable head.
I mean, why did they need to attach that cable to R2-D2 anyway? He could have just shouted it down at him.
It would have been so much quicker.
He's back. There's a timer on it. You're all in trouble. Anyway, I'm fucking off now. Bye. Need to plug him in.
Seriously.
And here we go now. This character's featured so little in this trilogy. I've forgotten his name. Can anyone tell me who this lesser spotted character is? We hardly ever see him in the sequel. But
Is that one IG-88 or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure Z3 would recognise this one. But what's getting inserted into your man there? God, what have I pressed round? It's all going. I've got fire coming from the laptop.
I believe that's Master Finn.
Take a drink, man, babies. That was Finn shouting Rey in R2 language. Okay, so we've got R2-D2 in a rare scene, and now we've got the old JJ trick. Let's not have 2 or 3 of the TIE fighters. Let's have bloody 50 of them. And then this, if I'm right, segues into a rather fast-paced scene. Where we start with the whole what do they call it? Light speed skipping?
Yeah.
Yes. I really want to get some thoughts on this. Reni, give me your thoughts on this whole light speed skipping nonsense.
We're very illogical. I was going to say some choice words, but very illogical. Didn't make sense. Just a way to enhance the quote-unquote plot, or to be used as a plot device, so to speak. But yeah, absolute garbage.
Oh, okay. Didn't like it. Dark Sith Lord lost Chord.
Darth Chord.
Darth Chord. I might change my screen name. Since you did ask for things that we liked about this film, this sequence looks really good. If you only consider it as bait for the trailer, it looked really good in the trailer, and it makes no sense in the film. But it looked great in the trailer, so I guess that's kind of praise of a kind. But they're screwed in this because they have to find some way to get around the stupid hyperspace tracking thing that is set up in The Last Jedi. But as is typically the way of the writers in this film, they don't counter this problem in any sensible way. The idea that TIE fighters have hyperdrives in them anyway is slightly irritating because it removes some of the important limits that establish rules in space battles in the original trilogy. If you didn't have TIE fighters with hyperdrives, you wouldn't have this problem anyway. But when they do go and invent lightspeed skipping as a solution to this problem, they then shit on George's legacy because we have the whole scene in A New Hope where it's explained how difficult and dangerous traveling through hyperspace can be if you don't have the precise coordinates and you don't know where you're going, and all the rest of that. You could fly through a sun, you could fly headlong into a supernova, or in this case, you can fly exactly where you need to be on any given planet at any given time within split seconds of each other, and just blow up the TIE fighters using the environment, which is just, it's like a video game. It's utter crap, but it breaks everything as well. Things are broken, and JJ has come along, and he's just mashed the pieces around and not actually put them back together.
It is.
Are you sure it was JJ, though? That's the thing.
Well, whoever was writing the damn thing, but JJ is shorthand for everybody involved in this film.
Okay. Yeah.
But space is absolutely huge. They shouldn't even come into contact with any other planet at all.
No, it takes them time to get from place to place. It takes them, quite a couple of scenes to get from Tatooine to Alderaan in A New Hope. They can't just jump from place to place in this manner. And then also, these shots, the actual mechanics of it, it's not just flying into empty space. He's flying in exactly the position he needs to be to avoid really close run environmental hazards going at light speed.
Exactly.
So to help me out here, because I remember a line from Han Solo saying you can't just, jump into light speed. You have to program it to make sure you don't leap into a star. How come Poe managed to just skip from one planet to the next and at the flick of a switch? What's going on here? Mega Geek, please give me some logic, if you would.
There's no logic. It's just a bad script. It's badly written. They had that, as I keep saying to you, they probably had a plan, but KK came in and, stamped and all of it and just changed it all. It's absolutely ridiculous. Every scene that happened in Jedi, and Jedi for me is one of the worst out of the first three. Every scene in that film had a reason for a battle or a fight or whatever. This, they just put it in because it looks nice. Do you know what I mean? Let's shoot at the Millennium Falcon. Do you know what I mean? Let's just skip this. Hyperspace skip and all. It's just nonsense. The whole film is just nonsense.
I was losing my shit at this point because it was like it's edited by somebody who had ADHD. It was like scene, action.
Yeah,
but this is the point I was trying to make. Right, when you watch Empire Strikes Back, this is the thing I was talking about with my friend a long time ago about CGI. When they used to do it with models, you can actually see the beauty of the ships moving. If you look at the Empire Strikes Back through the asteroid field, you can actually see the ships moving and where it's going, and the TIE fighter is getting hit. And even though we're going at speed, you can see where it's going. You can see it turning left. When you have CGI models, they can move so fast that you just don't know what's going on. Whether it's up or down is up. It's crazy. And this is exactly the example of crazy CGI. This film has loads of them.
It
Well,
does.
I think
the
Ross
filming
Chord
technique
said it best when he said that this film pretty much deliberately tries to give you epilepsy. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yes.
The filming techniques of old almost made them have to do it in that way. It gave the ships almost a kind of a weight to them.
Yeah.
Where the cameras had to move backwards and forwards. But in terms of the light speed, what do you call it? I said the drink's kicking in already. Light speed skipping.
Yeah.
Some of the precedent of that was set in The Force Awakens. If you remember, Han Solo going straight to the planet,
He does.
straight to Starkiller Base, which kind of breaks the lore already.
Yeah, it does.
And none of these
Yes.
ships have got a travelling map square around them at all, have they?
but that's the thing. You see, it's yeah, some of them did in the original trilogy, but at least you could see what was going on. Do you know what I mean? And in this film, it's just happened so fast that you just can't see anything. I give up on this film, seriously. It's just
No,
a waste of my
don't give
time.
up. We're only 28 slides in. We've still got 642 to go. Don't give up.
Still got 2 bottles of Diamond White to get down, you know.
Is it possible to order drink in now? I don't know. I'm running away.
It's a great point on the CGI though, because you know it's not just in the movement of ships. It sort of breaks the uncanny valley, as has been said, because of the filming techniques you use and how easy it is to mass produce these things. It completely removes stakes in combat, as we see at the end of the film. If you compare the final space battles in Return of the Jedi and this film, and you know, one of them looks and feels realistic because, as we said, they use models, but also the scale of the battle is realistic. It's not tens of thousands of ships just thrown on screen because bigger must necessarily be better. Back in the day, we also understood that it's what you do with it that counts, and we seem to have forgotten that now.
It is, as I said, if you watch something like 1978, I think it was, the first Superman movie, and you see the way Chris Reeves fly, and then you watch The Man of Steel, he's flying so fast, you might as well just have a blue dot in the middle of the clouds. Do you know what I mean? It's just a big waste of time. You don't see the beauty of him flying or anything. And, you know, faster doesn't mean better. Do you know? And I think that's the point.
Nope, it definitely does.
Bigger, more of them, and faster. That was JJ's approach to sex and to this film as well. There we go. Melvin claims to have never lost a drinking game. Melvin, I put it to you, you will lose this one because just a reminder, and we have had some others joining us. So every time Finn shouts Rey, there's a logic fail, of which we've already had about 17. A pointless character comes on screen. Rey's being the bestest. We've yet to see Rey, which is interesting. Or an actor wants to be anywhere but on the set of this goddamn movie, or there's an insult to George's legacy. Already had many of those. Take a drink. How are we all doing? Are we hanging in there, gang?
Yeah.
Oh,
Got half the bottle drunk.
Okay, so we're still light speed skipping from scene to scene, and then here we go. Take a drink, man, babies. Rey lifting rocks and hovering, and we got our introduction to Rey. So it feels only fitting to hand over to our very own Rey Skywalker, Reni. Reni, your thoughts on Rey's appearance and Rey's role in this movie?
Puke-worthy comes to mind. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's Daisy Ridley's face, the overall story from the first 2 movies, but I think that her training, the way it was handled, was awful. Yeah, exactly. The joke of the training she had or whatever, with the holograms of Leia or whatever, and then her being more powerful than Anakin, who was the chosen one. But just kidding, Rey's the chosen one. No, awful. She sucks. Horrible character. She had potential in the first one, even though The Force Awakens wasn't a great movie. At least it kind of wasn't so disappointing. I had no hope for the next movie. And she had the potential. I thought she was being set up as being one of the Solo twins, and or Luke's daughter. That's the only 2 possibilities that came to my mind. And then, that all went to hell. So I don't know. It just, I had no interest in her character when we got to this movie.
The question I keep asking myself is, how come they don't give her a different costume? She's got the same costume as she was in the first movie, right? In the Star Wars trilogy, Luke had that stupid judo costume in the first one. Yeah. Then he had like a really cool one in Empire Strikes Back. Then he was all in black in Jedi and looked a badass, didn't he?
Because he was a black belt.
Yeah, exactly. In this one, right, she's quite a pretty girl. And they don't dress her like a pretty girl. They dress her like a boy. And in the same freaking costume for all 3 movies.
Yeah, they do make her look pretty masculine. And they even
What's
kind
that
of
about?
I'm afraid that isn't quite, I hate contradicting Ian and N, but that isn't quite right.
What's
She
that?
actually she has 2 different costumes in The Force Awakens. She has one, possibly arguably 2, with the poncho she has on in Last Jedi, but she doesn't. Just has one in this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she does change in TLJ, but
But they look very similar, though, don't they? They look
Yeah.
very similar.
But they
That's
give
what-
her
that's
like
what I
the
mean.
figure of a teenage boy. Like you can't even tell like she's a woman. She doesn't look curvy. The way they dress her, it's just bland.
Am I right in thinking this scene here that she was just Princess Leia was just comped in, and
Yeah.
whatever she was
Yes,
saying in the
yes.
other scenes, they made the dialogue work
Yeah.
for Rey in this because it did feel a
Yeah,
bit
because it was
awkward.
posthumous, and you could.
Yeah.
It felt forced. It felt
This
so
is
forced.
it's one
No
of the
pun
reasons I
intended.
thought it was surprising that the film was only a 12A, because I just assumed that abusing corpses was going to get it more than 12A. But here we are.
Good God! Take a drink, just to get you through this. Take a drink.
I actually
Reni,
think-
sorry, Brian, I'm coming straight to you, man. Just take another sip. Reni, a bit of you've got a bit of fan mail in the chat there, so just a little appreciation for your contribution there from RRTNZ. I'll put that twist on it just for you, for our people overseas. Brian, please shoot from the hip, Brian. Go for it.
Well, Carrie Fisher died, a year before this film was the previous film was released, so they really had to dispense with the character after that happened. I really don't understand why they didn't do that. It left them a nightmare in the Rise of Skywalker. I think they did not too bad, considering obviously you get the CGI and the body double of her daughter being there. I think it was pretty remarkable what they pulled off, because I think there's a few films I've seen. The Peter Sellers Pink Panther was one of them. I think that he continued doing it after he died, and it was an absolute nightmare. So it's clunky. Most of the film's clunky, so at least it fits in.
So
See,
at
it
this
felt
point,
awkward to me.
It is awkward, but it's not as objectionable as it could have been, I think.
And why are they so insistent in not making Rey look female? Why are they insistent in making her look like a boy?
I've
What's
always
that
found
all
it
about?
weirdly attractive, but maybe that explains it, because
well-
I'm not straight.
you're
Maybe so
queuing-
Kylo Ren could fit as being maybe bisexual or gay. Does he like a manly woman?
Well, Kylo Ren looks like a lesbian, so it's all queuing up nicely. Rey looks like a boy. Kylo Ren like a lesbian. You're queuing up my little poll I wanted to insert at this point. A no golden rod, not that type of poll.
Sir.
I wanted to ask you all, being the male chauvinist pig I am, let's give Rey a rating on the old 0 to 10 scale. So
Jesus.
Mega Geek, let's quickly go around, and please in the chat give me your Rey rating. We're just rating it purely on her looks, because hey, that's how we roll when Brownie's not here. So Mega Geek, what are you saying for Rey?
Well, I do think the girl, what's her name? Ridley Scott?
Daisy Ridley.
No, Daisy
Scott,
Ridley.
yeah.
Really,
Daisy.
Ridley Scott.
Trans name.
I actually think Daisy Ridley is quite a pretty girl, but as I said, I'm confused because when we had the original trilogy, at least Princess Leia was really, as a kid, I found her really horny. Do you know what I mean? I was like, she's lovely, and in Empire and in Jedi. Obviously, when she was wearing the slave costume, it was like absolutely unbelievable. But why? Oh, I know why. I really know why. It's KK, and it's all about the Force is female and all that shit. But going back to the question, I think she's pretty. I think I'd give her a 7 out of 10. Basically.
Yeah, but I think he's asking as Rey.
Oh,
not
as
Daisy
Rey.
Ridley.
As Rey, yes, not as
Nah.
Daisy. It's
about 4.
No.
Not even
Okay.
that. 2 maybe. 2.
Craig Shan will give a 1. Well done, Craig. This is what we've descended to as we approach the hour mark. We've already got into this. Reni, bring us on the straight and narrow. Give us an objective opinion, woman to woman.
She looks a bit
What
fat
do you make
there,
of
actually.
Rey?
1. She looks like a
Oh,
boy.
a
If
1.
I was a guy, I wouldn't find her hot.
Oh, good God. Okay. Dark Sith Lord Lost Chord.
He's gone.
He's on mute.
I've
He's
offended him.
back now. Sorry, no, it's him taking this on. I'm not even that drunk. As said before, no, I'm not straight, so maybe that's why I find her quite pretty, because she does actually look a bit like a boy. So I'm across the entire 3 films, I would average it out as a 7, going down to 5 in TLJ, and then maybe up to a high of 8 in certain scenes. But it always drops to 3 when she tries to act. So it's a questionable one. I'm going to average that out and say 7, I think.
Wow, that was
That's high.
yes, that was light speed skipping through your ratings there. That was fantastic. Goldenrod, what do you make of Rey? Would you give her any time with your goldenrod?
Well, Mistress Rey is, of course, a 10 out of 10 because she's the bestest ever. She's better than all the other Jedi combined. She is, in fact, all of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And therefore is a solid 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a really good point. Just briefly, like, if she is all the Jedi, then anybody who does find her attractive, by definition, is also saying that they'd be willing to sleep with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Plo Koon. So if you're down for that kind of thing, good for you. But my rating is just realizing that my rating is just plummeted to 1.
Imagine for one moment, and I can't believe we're already into this kind of filth at the armor. Imagine you're getting jiggy with Rey, and all of a sudden the voice of Plo Koon comes sailing forth as she whispers into your ear, or Qui-Gon gives it a prophetic line. I mean, it's gonna put you off, isn't it? Yeah,
she leans in and whispers, "What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?"
Like that,
Talk about a passion killer. Oh, God. Brown, we need you back rather urgently. We've really descended into something here. Brian, I've got to press you for your... Did you give me your Rey rating?
I don't think I can. It's far too problematic for me. If you've ever seen that... If you've ever seen that deep fake on Professor Tosspot's channel, you'd give it a 10.
Oh. Well, all of a sudden, half the chat has gone off to Google that one. Okay, Brian, give me a number, goddammit. Stop beating around the proverbial bush.
No, I can't do such a thing. It's too problematic for me, I'm afraid.
Oh, sir, we must hear your rating.
What would Brian Young give Rey? There we go. I'll give you an out, for God's sake.
2,000 out of 10. Do you know, I was going to say something really, really dark involving ages there, but I'm going to shut up.
Oh, God, no. No, save it. We've still got 623 slides to go. Okay, so it's back to our resident lesbian, Kylo Ren. And is he on the toilet here? I don't know what this scene, what we're seeing him. But
he's fallen asleep. He's reading the script. So he fell asleep.
Take a drink for an actor who doesn't want to be anywhere near this goddamn film. So, and we're back to Rey. Is she... I don't know what she looks like. She's doing some kind of
farting.
What's happened is she was in the middle of the training, and because Kylo is doing his funny business, she's had a moment of losing her concentration, and everything's going tits up.
I say farting.
See,
yes,
we need Brian because he's the only one who's seen him film more than once. But okay, here we go. Yes, we have the flashback. Brian, I don't even want to mention of Brian Young jokes at this point, so let's not even go there. But yes, we have the flashback to Rey, and obviously we do get some answers, don't we, to the questions of what happened to her, who took her, and what happened to her parents, and that's all yet to come. So we hold our bated breath for that.
Her parents were filthy junk traders who sold her for drinking money.
At that point, take a drink, take a goddamn drink, and I'm all out of drink as it stands. Brian, I might need to take the helm while I go and fill up because I cannot get through the next 4 hours without another drink. So this is the ship, which is where her parents are being taken away, and this is
is that woman in
Jodie Comer?
Killing,
yes,
Killing. Oh, didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't recognize it when I was watching this movie. Cool.
Wow. What a bit part she was given for such a good actress.
Yeah.
Fellow Liverpudlian, shame on you, Jodie, for taking this role. And then we have a hand. Is this Kylo Ren's hand? Is this a force time? Lost Chord, please. What's going on here?
This is all part of the flashbacks.
Oh, okay.
There's a few slides for the flashback.
Right. Okay. Oh, is this Dark Rey? Is this our first look at Dark Rey?
Who cares?
So look, I want a discussion at this point, not least of all because I want a chance to go and run the loo. But I want to know, should JJ have committed and gone to Dark Rey rather than just tease us with it? Should he have gone there? Would that have improved things? I want you to share your thoughts. At least give me enough time to run the loo and get 2 more drinks to get me through the next 100 or so slides. So, Mega Geek, kick us off. I want to know, Dark Rey, better, worse, or do we just need to start sexually rating Dark Rey? Go for it.
Well, the reason why Dark Rey is there, so I've been told, is because everybody was, when they were doing the script writing thing, everybody was saying, yeah, a lot of fans are saying that she didn't suffer. You know, she's just, everything just fell in her lap. So what they tried to attempt to do was actually have a reason for her to suffer. But KK came in and put her size 9s in and kind of said, okay, if she's going to suffer, we're only going to do this, we're only going to do that, whatever. So she was still evoking the lore on the Star Wars thing. So that's why we got Dark Rey, which made no sense whatsoever, just to add a little bit of pressure on her. And let's face it, it was just a tiny bit of pressure on her.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why she's there.
If she had actually gone to the dark side, that would have been far more entertaining than the Mary Sue bullshit that we got.
Isn't that the premise of Colin Trevorrow's script, has her going to the dark side?
I think
that would have been a lot better.
Or,
I mean, if they'd actually set that up in the previous movie, that during the throne room scene, Kylo Ren turned her to the dark side, that would have ended that movie on a real Empire sort of moment, having lost their greatest asset. And then they could have resumed the Finn with the force sensitivity and train him in a finale against Finn and her, where he brings her back.
Well, the reason why Finn was pushed to the back was because of the was it the Japanese, the Asian market,
Chinese
Chinese market. Yeah, it's because that when JJ wrote it, yes, there was meant to be something between them both, and also Finn was meant to have the force apparently. So that was where it was leading to, but because the experience of that market, and because of Kathleen Kennedy again putting her size 10s in, her feet is growing, by the way. That's the reason why we got this. That's the reason why Finn was treated so badly. And in fact,
I thought it was because Ryan Johnson was racist.
That too, I guess.
Probably that too. I was going to say.
Just as well he's not here.
But I would say, like, if Finn was actually the main protagonist, I think this sequel or this trilogy could have been at least a teeny bit better. But because it happened during all of the other BS where women are awesome and guys suck kind of mentality, this wasn't entertaining. I mean, amongst other things, it's just one of the many reasons it wasn't entertaining. But if you had a stormtrooper who saw the light and, kind of turned around and wound up becoming a Jedi, didn't realize he had the force capacity because he's been, basically taken into the Empire since he was a baby or a kid, but, is able to break away and do all this stuff. That would have been a lot better plot line than just some trashy bitch from a planet, a junk planet wound up, having the force. Oh, yeah. By the way, we retconned it and she's Palpatine's granddaughter.
Yeah, but that's where they were going. It was obvious that's where they were going because they even had those lines when he was, talking to Han Solo, and Han Solo goes, that's not the way the Force works and stuff like that. That's where it was leading.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Going. Yeah.
But Kathleen Kennedy put her size 10s in, or 11s in.
11 now.
then that was it. 11. Yeah.
Jesus, that's bigger feet than Brie Larson. What's going on? Toes like Palpatine's fingers. What's going on? I'm back now, man, babies. I've got my drinks lined up. I've emptied the proverbial and the literal bladder. And yes, has anyone else contributed or not contributed on Dark Rey while I've been gone?
Yeah, I would agree that with Z, I think it should have been done in The Last Jedi. In fact, it's the one moment in The Last Jedi where I thought was genuinely, kind of on the edge of my seat, wondering what was going to happen. I think it would have been a far better setup for the next film if she turned to the dark side.
Yeah, if you lost your protagonist halfway through the second movie, that would have been subverting expectations.
Yeah.
Well, yes, not even I'm that. Not even I'm that ridiculous to think of that, but I'm sure they would have gotten a round of applause from the audience. Okay, so we're moving on. Luke, is this a random scene from Last Jedi? How the hell is Luke here, Brian?
This is part of the flashback scene again, but the hilarious thing is that is a flipped image of Mark Hamill from The Force Awakens.
Oh, really?
If you look at his nose. His nose is quite a... Aye, you can tell.
So that's really his arse, is it? What's going on?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he's got the kind of, the weird...
they do that a lot, though, in movies, don't they? They do flip shots. Yeah, so... is this when Han Solo took a dive?
Yes, this is poor Han taking one for the team.
With the wobbly
making sure he didn't
lightsaber.
feature in Last Jedi.
It's not necessarily a barrier, though, because remember, Darth Maul fell down a hole and came back in Rebels, and Palpatine fell down a hole and came back in this film. So falling down holes is not necessarily a barrier to featuring in subsequent films. Maybe Han Solo will come back again in whatever film comes after this.
Darth Maul should never have been back. No one is surviving that. Having said that, if you can survive Death Stars, I suppose it doesn't look so bad now.
Back when Darth Maul getting cut in half and falling down a hole was the most ridiculous thing. Now we have the Rise of Skywalker, so hooray.
Yep. Just a flesh wound.
I wish that thing would crush.
Why did she try to lift this off BB-8 when she's
just
rocks?
Yes.
Just crush him.
2 seconds ago. Just go, false lift. I've just been doing rocks. This is easy. It's just a tree.
That
No, we have to let him struggle.
Stupid football robot. Seriously. Crush that stupid thing.
Yeah,
that was designed way back in the 70s, that robot.
How was it?
Believe it or not. Yep, it just didn't have the technology to do it.
It was actually, if we just go back to it, because I don't know if you noticed, but its body was actually designed on Rian Johnson's head. So, that was the original schematics for that droid. So there you go. Bit of trivia. That's a freebie for you there in the chat, man, babies. So we carry on. We see Rey in the same clothes she's been wearing for the last 7 years, or however long this thing's been going on.
But she's Super Rey now. Why does she need her stick?
For private reasons.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh God. Thank God we didn't say that.
Oh, it's a dirty stream, this one.
Put the Johnny Walker down, Rennie, for God's sake. We're only an hour into this.
Poor Rey. I don't know, Leia. I just thought I'd carry it around with me because it looks cool.
Why does it look all crusty?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Dear.
Brown, don't pull the plug, Brown. We promise. We'll clean it up. It'll only get better the drunker we get. So here we go. Here's Rey. I don't know which way this is going. Is Rey giving it to Leia? Is Leia giving it to Rey? I don't what Brian.
Leia's hands look really young there, doesn't it? Yeah. Leia's hands looks really young.
That's
actually that's their daughter. Yep.
It's Rian Johnson's hand, that one. Who's the hand model.
And Leia's going, here, Rey, steal a piece of the Skywalker legacy. Take it with you. Go on. It's yours. You've earned it somehow. Here, take it.
She actually says, I will earn your brother's saber.
Good to see Scotty in the chat playing along to the drinking game. He's already being crude and offensive, but we appreciate it, Scotty. Keep it coming.
Scotty, Drink Canada Dry was an advert, not an instruction.
And we get another of George's great characters desecrated, the Millennium Falcon. Take a big gulp, man, babies. And you know, my favorite thing about this movie is how Rey, Poe, and Finn act as though they've spent the entire trilogy together, when actually at this point they've spent precisely about 1 minute 32 seconds on screen together. So it was this a problem, Mega Geek? That we just didn't have that chemistry, that on-screen chemistry between the three heroes.
And again, I'm going to tell you that it wasn't meant to be. It was JJ had a plan. I'm saying this again for the cheap seats. JJ had a plan, and it got spoiled by KK and Ryan round Ryan Head, and this is what it's ended up as. You know, and JJ has had to basically polish a turd and try to make out that they were friends or maybe an adventure happened in between films and stuff
Are
like
you
that.
saying
It's
Amber Heard
ridiculous.
was there since he had to polish the turd?
Probably. Probably. But seriously, I just don't understand this movie at all. It's really bad. And why is Rey got leather wristbands? It's not like she's playing tennis or anything. Why is she wearing that? I don't understand. It's just the costume's just rubbish. This set's just rubbish. Whole thing's rubbish.
Somebody
The
should-
leather
It's all bloody
bands are
rubbish.
It's
to
all
protect her
rubbish.
skin from the stick.
What stick?
Oh.
The playing stick.
All right. Why has she got a hood?
She,
Is it-
she does wear the hood now and then, doesn't she, to
Is she
protect
for
herself
what?
from the rain because she's never seen rain in her whole life.
But
we
then
do see
then
a-
her arms are out. So what's the point? If it starts raining, she's going to get wet anyway.
Yeah.
So I just the costume doesn't make any sense.
take
There's
a
actually a
drink for the
really-
Rey costume.
There's a really cool sort of jacket thing that goes with that, but they never used it in the final shot.
Mm. It doesn't make sense to have a hoodie on something
No.
sleeveless. Yeah, it's weird.
Whole costume doesn't make any sense. It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
Is it not harking back to the Jedi having the hoods? Is that not part of it?
Maybe, but they didn't wear short sleeves or no sleeves when they had it. They were like, basically clothed top to bottom. So I don't know.
Isn't that Moonlight?
Yes.
Moonlight fella? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, midnight.
that's him.
Moon Knight, there he is.
I think with the dialogue that we heard here and there and the way they interacted, it wasn't perfect. I think there was potential, and I think with a decent writing team, I think these three might have been okay.
They
if they'd put from the
they
start.
tried to be too like Marvel, didn't they, with the humor in this one?
I don't know. I think it was more like they tried to do it more like the original trilogy, where they're all slagging each other off and bickering.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense because, like Ruin said, they didn't really spend any
Didn't
time
know each
together.
other.
It was
Yeah,
weird.
it
It was
wasn't-
awkward. How are we best
wasn't
friends
executed-
when- Yeah.
It wasn't executed well, but I think the intention was there.
Yeah, because this is probably a fallout from the original script. So that's what happens when people rewrite scripts and stuff. They leave the bits in, or accidentally leave bits in from the original version, and then they muck around with it. People muck around with it so much that you lose focus on the script. And then when you're making it, you suddenly realize that this doesn't connect with this, and then you have to make it up on the day so it can connect to another bit that's in the script that doesn't make any sense. That was the fallout from the original script. And that's what happens. And this is exactly what happened with this movie. You can tell. If you write scripts, you can tell that this film is just, that this screenplay is just fucked up. You can tell.
It's also one of the
I don't know if
cases
you guys-
where it unambiguously does suffer from The Last Jedi. I mean, I did a video on The Last Jedi when some shitty website put out a belated defense of it earlier this year. And one of the defenses was that The Last Jedi boldly took its three main heroes and it split them up and gave them individual story arcs, which is exactly why this scene has a problem, because you've got no pre-established relationship because the previous film decided that they shouldn't spend any time together at all. And so when this film comes along and actually needs them to be together and to interact with each other, you have to fast forward any kind of character backstory history, which will attempt to make sense of the dialogue options that they then have. But none of it makes sense precisely because it is rushed so much. They have a few minutes in which they can build this stuff up, where they had a whole film prior to this where they could have done it and chose not to because The Last Jedi was different and therefore it must have been good. What a bold creative vision Rian Johnson had for that. Splitting the main characters up was one of the worst options he possibly could have taken.
Well, thank you. I don't detect any sarcasm there, so I do appreciate the credit you're giving me. Yeah, so look, I need to pause on this particular slide, not because we've still got 612 to go, but this is the infamous line. I do believe, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is where we get the old somehow Palpatine returned. Am I right,
That's why-
Brian?
Yes, that's why I
there we
included
go.
this one. I knew you would like it.
Oh, we do need to reflect on this particular scene.
Is that Elon Musk behind him? Elon Musk?
Oh, get out.
Is that him?
No.
Elon Musk. Okay, so look, this is classic JJ, isn't it? When faced with the prospect of actually having to explain the dross he's giving us, he just wimps out and basically says, "Noel, look, this is what it is. Deal with it. I'm not going to explain it." We had it in the first movie with Maz Kanata saying, "Good question for another time." And this is, I mean, arguably is. I remember doing a poll on Twitter at Ruin the Man Baby. I'm going to get my plug in there. And I think this was voted the worst line in Star Wars. what's everyone's thoughts on this? We need to go around the room. Let's start with Z3. Your thoughts on the old Palpatine's return line?
It's not so much this line, it's the next line for me, where you've got one of them goes dark science, cloning, secrets that only the Sith knew. Like the entire prequel trilogy wasn't about cloning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So somehow I'm not surprised he returned. They really had nothing left, did they? They chopped up Snoke. They didn't have an underlying story arc for the whole 3 films. JJ did his bit. He did a load of setup, and then he went to Rian Johnson. Do whatever you like, and then he disappeared. And Ryan did exactly that, and he completely chopped off everybody's head, and went. Nah.
But they knew they were in trouble, weren't they? After the last film, they knew that a lot of fans, if they had any fans, that is, that a lot of people disliked what Roundhead did, and so that's why they gave it back to JJ. But when they gave it back to JJ, it wasn't like they gave him full reign.
Well, but not just that, the damage was already done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what I heard was that JJ didn't want to do it, but the check was so large, he decided to do it, apparently. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Nobody would take this job on, apparently.
No one could possibly follow my masterpiece. And just Brian, help me out. How do I ban Melvin Deeply from the live stream and giving my film some abuse there? I don't appreciate that in the slightest. Okay, so we move on, and this is it's somehow getting worse. We have Rey delving into the manuscripts and obviously discovering that she needs to find the Wayfinder. Now, I was at this point I was trying to keep up with the movie, and it felt to me like they need to find Palpatine. Well, they need to find the planet that Palpatine's on to find Palpatine, but to find that planet, they need a Wayfinder. And then to find the Wayfinder, they need to find a dagger, is it? But then to find the dagger, they need to find Ochi. And it just goes on and on and on. And at some point, I think I lost the will to live. Brian, you've seen it more than any of us. Can you please make sense of this ridiculous plot?
I could do before we started the drinking game, but now I can't even remember which film we're on, to be perfectly honest. There's 2 Wayfinders, isn't there? There's one that the Kylo Ren takes, and there's the one that they are looking for.
And who has it?
I can't remember.
Emo Ren's got it. He's got it. Emo Ren's got one. Ooh,
isn't this the film where they met, what's his name? Lando Calrissian.
Yes. Oh, yes.
No, of course.
He'll be making an appearance in about 3 hours. Hold on to your seats for that one.
They're the physical equivalent of a map, a Google pin in the map, aren't they? They just pick them up and there it is. There's the pin, and this is where you go. Just plug it into the auto part. I'm so drunk right now.
It's all those damn oil baths.
I've been drinking vodka and Red Bull since we started the stream, and I have been following the drinking game, and I'm quite fucking smashed. So, but I'm gonna keep it up. I promise.
I'm not even a quarter of the way into the film yet, Z.
Okay.
This could be the most drunken live stream in the history of YouTube here. So I'm already on my 5th double rum and coke. So this is going well. I mean, at this point, I can see 2 laptops in front of me. I'm just trying to find the buttons for one of them. Reminder: we have got this drinking game going on. So there's the rules. Do keep up, folks. We'll try and shout them out as we go. But yes, now I do believe this is another retcon almost of The Last Jedi. God damn you, JJ. This is Kylo putting his mask back together. Reni, what do you think? Do we like the return of Kylo's mask with the little red volcanic effects to it?
No, it looks dumb. Like a 5-year-old just like broke a glass and tried to glue it back together and used like freaking red glue. It's awful. There's no point other than the fact that people complain that he destroyed the mask. That's the only reason why they brought it back that I can think of.
This is him having a go at Roundhead, isn't it? This is JJ trying to have a go at Roundhead.
Yeah, But I mean, it just looks so cheesy. Why couldn't he make a new one? You know, that was
Exactly.
so dumb.
But can you imagine that after he smashed it up, he went, "Oh, actually, I might need that later," and then picked
I'm
up all
gonna
the
put
little
it back
bits.
together.
Picked up all the pieces from the floor of the elevator.
The irony
everyone
is, this
has
is
a
a
bag.
metaphor. Sorry, Z. This is a metaphor for the entire film. Essentially, picking up all the fucking pieces that was left behind and trying to reassemble it
And
into
trying to put it
something
back
and making
together.
a complete
But-
arse of the whole affair. Yeah.
But it
It's-
wound up making it worse.
Yeah,
than
it did.
better.
It's just
Yeah.
like IKEA, isn't it? When you put something together, there's always something missing, isn't there? Or you have a little thing that's
Yeah.
left, and you go, "Where's this belong?" so it really does tell you exactly
I
what
mean,
they
you
were trying
guys
to
have
do with the film.
like, you guys have accidentally broken a glass or had a glass fall on the floor, right? You've tried to put it back together. Is it going to look good? Is it going to work?
It didn't work for
properly
Humpty
without
Dumpty,
leaking?
did it? Yeah.
No. I mean, well, but he still had some
1 hour
missing shots.
24. We've had our first Humpty Dumpty joke. Well done, Lady Geek.
So,
Well,
yeah, it's awful.
Talking of heads, we seem to
God.
have one on the table here. So poor, I don't know the character's name. I don't really give a shit. But
This scene is just a rip-off of the scene from the first movie, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a
Absolutely.
complete rip-off, and it's so badly done as well. It's just absolute shit. This movie's making me sick. It really is.
No.
I just
Yeah.
don't
Another
feel
drink.
well.
Take
We
alcohol,
gotta have
is it?
another drink.
Yep. Everybody drink.
Take a drink, and also, can we just show some sympathy to MC in the chat? He has no booze. He's attempting to sit through this 7-hour marathon live stream with we're talking Rise of Skywalker with no booze. MC, you must have hurt someone badly in your
That
previous life or
is
something.
not no sympathy, because that is a level of forethought. Sorry, you would only expect from the creators of the sequel trilogy. If you have no booze in your house, that is entirely your fault. And what the hell are you doing with your life?
Oh, MC, sort your damn life out, man. Okay. Or woman, I don't know. We have to be equal of. Okay, so we have is this Millennium Falcon going to? Is it still light speed skipping? I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I can barely see straight. So, of course, it's this celebration planet where we're all having a big festival, and we had to get to have some color and everything else. This all got a little bit bizarre. I mean, as someone mentioned earlier, it's been really flying through. I think it was Z3 saying it's been flying through a breakneck speed, this film, and then it does to slow down just a little here, and we get a nice respite with the celebrations and so on. All a bit strange, though. So, Dark Sith Lord Lost Chord, give me your thoughts on this festival and what the hell they're trying to do with this part in the movie.
This festival of shite, which only actually it only exists because what they've realized, they've gone for a little while in this film without bringing up the question of Rey's parentage again, and so they go through, they're trying to find the MacGuffin that leads to the MacGuffin that leads to the MacGuffin that leads to the end of the film, and they've arrived at the Forbidden Desert, which is not forbidden because they've arrived when it's Glastonbury, and they walk through it for a bit. They warn about the presence of First Order troops, but they're not there until the film needs them to be. And then one of the weird manatee creatures comes along and says hello to Rey and gives her a necklace and asks what Rey's name is. And Rey says she's Rey. And then C-3PO says he wants to know your family name, which is just, it's so obviously shoehorned into it's. Remember, guys, we're sort of questioning who Rey actually is in this film, because I know we said that there were no one, but maybe they might be someone now. So we need an excuse to mention this in the film. So weird manatee thing here says, what's your family name? And Rey says, I'm no one, which is the correct answer. But then again, this see, it does slow things down a little bit, yes. But then it still starts jumping around because you have her then going and force Skyping Kylo. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, you have the other two who are beset by a First Order Stormtrooper who is shot in the eye with an arrow from Lando Calrissian. And you realize that even when the film is slow, it makes absolutely no sense. What is going on in this scene? Yeah, and the necklace which he force yanks, which is a new force power, through the galaxy.
You could have just grabbed her.
He could have grabbed, why not? Yeah, but there's no rule to establish why this hasn't happened. So he yanks a necklace off, and then he gets it scanned, and they instantly find that only one planet in the entire galaxy produces necklaces, and therefore they go over there, and it takes them no time at all, and they send the stormtroopers afterwards, and they fly now, and the film is shit.
Wow, and you basically talked us through at least 3 or 4 slides. So well done, you saved us a few minutes there. We may get finished before breakfast, so I do appreciate that.
Okay, I'll slow it down again. So like this, who the hell thought? I mean, fan service is fan service, and fan service has its utility in any film. An element of fan service works, but there is a deployment of fan service which is so ridiculous that it defeats the object of fan service, because people are looking at it thinking, what the fuck is going on? Rather than, oh, it's that guy, I love him. Shooting a stormtrooper in the eye with an arrow from Lando Calrissian is an example of bad fan service. What were they thinking here?
Well, they have protection, don't they? So you'd think, oh well, I give up on this film. This film's just rubbish. Seriously.
Somehow Lando returned.
Yeah, out of all the people on the planet, you know how big that planet is? They find Lando.
Oh, God. Reni, one for you here. We've got a new nickname for you. Force Yank. That's what we're going to call you from now on, Princess.
Reni's gone.
Reni's gone. We will. Well, I'll make sure she gets that one in the post in that case.
I've been to festivals and I've not been able to find my mates. How they managed to bump into Lando, I've got no idea.
Reni informs us she's dropped. She will try and come back.
All right.
So there we
I
go.
hope so, Reni.
Can I steal control of the slides for a second?
You certainly can, because at this point I'm losing my bodily function. So please do.
Oh, the will to live.
That as well.
I felt as if this little Pasaana scene was almost ripped off from Close Encounters. Ian?
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I just seriously, I don't even know what this film's all about. I really don't. I mean, that looks like my granddad, actually. It's not Lando, it's my granddad.
Well, according to the script in this film, that's actually possible, because it does hint at Lando's relatives, but never actually confirms that any of them are. So maybe you are actually secretly Lando's grandson. There's as much to substantiate that as the daughter/not daughter that we see later on in this film.
But what's interesting about this is, just to interrupt you, what's interesting about this film is you realise that all these actors, from Star Wars to Doctor Who to this, they really didn't have enough work. So when they got a chance to star in something as awful as this, they jumped at it, didn't they? Billy D. Williams jumped at it, didn't he? On this one, just like, oh God, if he saw the first 2 movies and he realised how crap it was, why would you want to be on this one?
Well, he's the only one who actually looks like he's having some fun, though. Almost all the others have phoned it in, or they look like they are only there because they're paid to. Billy D. Williams is the only one who looks like he's genuinely enjoying being there. Which, if you look at the rest of his career, yeah, you can understand why.
Yeah,
but at least he looks like he still has some affection for his character and the franchise. There is even I mean, Mark Hamill didn't really have a role, so he had to play Grumpy. But Carrie Fisher dials it in, and we all know what Harrison Ford thinks. It was sort of nice to see someone who didn't hate being there. So to that extent only, hooray for Billy D. Williams.
I love the idea that Carrie dialed it in, even though she was dead. But
dialed in by a seance. It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style.
She voicemailed it in.
I saw a couple of interviews with Billy D. Williams, just maybe even 5 or 10 years before that film, and I thought, God Almighty, he's going to be absolutely awful. His appearance was actually one of the I nearly said highlights, but clearly not, one of the brighter moments in it. Yeah, I thought he was really good.
And why did they exclude R2D2? Why?
Yeah. Well, it's not like they hate him. But they started introducing new droids. We got this Dio character turn up, so then we've got 4 droids we're trying to juggle between. I think, yes, look, the sidelining of some of the most beloved characters was probably one of the biggest sins of this whole trilogy, and R2 was literally put underneath a tarpaulin in JJ's first movie, and in this movie he gets barely much more screen time. It is sacrilegious, isn't it? But
it's KK, isn't it, with a size 12, isn't it? That's definitely
KK,
what it is.
Size 13, Palpatine toes, that's the one. But we get to a rather infamous line, and also scored very highly on my poll of worst lines in Disney Star Wars. They fly now. And Z3, it seems only fitting. You're in this scene, you're featured in the background there. What did you make of the they fly now scene?
Holy crap! They have been flying since Attack of the Clones. What are they on about? Boba Fett could fly in Return of the Jedi. What are they on about? The entire Star Wars franchise has jetpacks littered throughout it. The Empire even had them. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Stupid,
They
isn't
fly
it?
now. Finn
It
was
is.
literally a stormtrooper. He must have had some sort of jetpack training. Does he? What?
But who starts this? Because I know they all repeat the line. Is it Finn who starts it, or I can't even remember?
No,
The
I think it's Poe who starts this, isn't he? He
Oh,
says
Poe
they fly
started
now, and then
Oh,
3PO
right.
says they fly now.
Oh,
But you
Your
know, they
dumbasses have always been able to fly.
they set Poe up to be this really great pilot, you know, of an X-wing. He's like genius the way he flies. They set that up in the first one, don't they? And then nothing came of it. It's really weird how nothing came of it. So that's weird. I find that they're setting up a character and then they do nothing. Then again, they did it with every other character, didn't they? So
It's because it's Rey. Rey sucks all the abilities of all the other characters away from them. So if anyone who is introduced who has a notable skill, you can guarantee within half an hour Rey will be the person who has that skill, and they're left with nothing. Which is one of the reasons the whole franchise now is so devoid of anyone anybody actually likes, is because Rey does everything for everyone. There's a line at the beginning of this film where they land and Poe says to Rey, "We need you with us. You're the best fighter we have."
Yeah, I know.
That was you 2 films ago. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Oh
It's
my
stupid,
god,
isn't it?
they crashed into the quicksand. If only there was somebody who could levitate shit and get them out of it.
Yes, they've crashed into the only patch. They've all crashed, every single one of them, into the only patch of quicksand in the entire desert planet. What a goddamn coincidence! So
What's holding it up?
Yeah, why is sinking sand not sinking into the massive cave network underneath it?
I hate to come in here, but the cave is actually intact. The weight of them breaks through it. However,
Is
you might
that
want
why?
to say that surely the weight of everything else that was on top of it would do the same.
That's
No,
right.
they were the final straw.
It was my final straw when I was watching it. So
And they have that other fantastically notable dropped line when Finn says, "Rey, I never told you," and then they fall down, and by the time they hit the floor, they've forgotten what the hell they were going to say.
That's because that's something left over from the original script.
I know it is, yeah, but you'd think they would have cut it. I mean, it's like the
No.
disappearing weapon in The Last Jedi. It's so obvious that
No,
even if you're using leftover bits, surely you would go back through, revise the script, even if it is comprised of leftovers, and get rid of the leftovers that do not
No,
like compiling a Bible.
No, because I've been on a horror film where the producer thought he was God, basically, and thought he knew what was best for the script. You know, so we wrote original script, and then he came and, you know, he wanted it rewritten, and you go so far, but because you rewrite stuff, you know, everything becomes out of focus, so you can't see the wood from the trees. And this is exactly what's happened to this script. It happens all the time in Hollywood, all the time, and this is no exception.
But it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I've written a book, and if I were to go back through that draft and I found something so glaring an omission as that, I would burn the fucking book.
But that's you. But remember, right?
But I'm not paid any money.
No, but hold on. But JJ, even though JJ got credited and the other writer got credited, I bet you there were 20 people.
Yes, yeah.
That sticking their oar in. Bet you. And then in the end, he just threw his hands in the air like he just didn't care and just went with the script that was there. Do you know what I mean? So
well, this brings us to a rather convenient point in the movie where we have this famous emo band, the Knights of Ren.
How did they get up there?
They just linger in the background, looking menacing, and then the one time they ever have to do anything, they're killed instantly. So, yes,
Mr. Brown invites us to name the band, so I'm going with Syndrome of a Down.
Get the words in the right order there. You'll get us banned, for God's sake. Yes, the Knights of Ren. I mean, we first saw them in The Force Awakens, of course. I think Rian Johnson completely ignored them in The Last Jedi, and then JJ said, "Hang on a minute, I'm bringing them back." Talk about underutilized and Z3. Can we what can we say about the Knights of Ren? I mean, pointless. Does that
Knights of Ren
sum it up?
Cool. Oh my God! Look, there's that ship that Lando couldn't find for the 35 years he was on that planet. What was
Lando,
he
who can
doing?
find
was
Rey
so
and Chewie
high.
and everyone in a festival, but he can't find a ship on top of a mountain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the ship that nobody's touched that contains a droid on board that tells you everything that you need to know. But no, you couldn't see that, could you, Lando? How long have you been there again, mate? 35, 40 years?
He was too busy eating, as you can see.
Too busy having a good time.
So that's right. Yeah.
Oh, and this
Oh,
is
God.
possibly my favorite scene in the whole of cinematic history. So this is, of course, what we got in the trailer. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like it was almost made purely for a trailer scene and should never have made the final goddamn movie. But we have this genius move where Kylo Ren turns up, and rather than firing at Rey from a distance with his ship, after all, the cannons on a ship, he decides to run her down. And then Rey performs this backflip maneuver. Another interesting point. This is, I think, at least the second or third time they've used slow-mo in Star Wars in this movie alone. We had it in the opening scene with Kylo Ren. We have it again here. I mean, talk about a logic fail. I think if you've got a bottle of JD or Johnny Walker, please sink the entire bottle for this scene. Rather ridiculous. It doesn't come close. Brian, what do you make of this extraordinary scene?
Farcical. The only plus points I can give it is the maneuver that she pulls was actually done with practical effects. Obviously, the ship wasn't, but the acrobatics wire work was pretty cool. As you said, definitely should never have made it in the final cut.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
So wasn't he supposed to capture her?
No, he doesn't know what he wants to do with her, seriously. And that's the thing, you see. He should just fire a laser at her. Why don't he just fire a laser at her? What is wrong with him?
Did
Why
you
does he wanna
find my
run over?
granddaughter? I ran her over. But the thing is, right, immediately after this is completely written off. And he comes out of there with pristine clothing.
Yeah.
Like he's got the ultimate plot armor that this crash didn't hurt him in any way, shape, or form. It just comes out and it's like, yeah, I'm cool.
Even the A-team dusted themselves down when they came out of a car
did,
after
yeah.
a crash.
They did. Yeah.
The speed and the G-force of that crash should have killed him. At the very least, he could have the good graces to limp or show that he's been in a crash. But he just strolls over in this scene, absolutely fine, as though nothing has just happened with the burning wreckage of his destroyed TIE fighter thing behind him, in order to have a weird sort of force game with Rey here to push the ship that she's pulling away, and by so doing, compel her to accidentally use one of the most powerful force moves in the galaxy and blow it up. And it's the first instance, I think, in this film of someone who dies but doesn't, which happens again and again and again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
The idea of being...
have the Wayfinder on it.
It's got the Wayfinder, the dagger, it's got Chewie, it's got Mark Hamill's balls on there, it's got it's pretty well loaded, that ship. I mean, this for me, I said the old Kylo Ren riding down Rey was one of the most ridiculous scenes I've ever seen, but this somehow even eclipses it. This forced tug of war on a spaceship is just utterly ludicrous. I mean, I don't know, Mega Geeks, please, I know you'll find a positive in this somehow. Please tell me there's a cinematic reason for this scene.
There is no reason for this scene. It's a stupid scene. And I knew he didn't die. I knew Chewbacca wasn't going to be dead when the thing blew up. There's absolutely no reason for this scene. There's absolutely no reason for this whole film, to tell you the truth. There you go.
It's
like pulling the spaceship down
to drink, if nothing else. Go on,
yeah,
Brian.
exactly.
The pulling the spaceship down thing comes from it probably doesn't come from, because I don't think they would have done that much research, but in the Force Unleashed video games, that's one of the things you have to do is try and pull that nightmare of a... You know, the funny thing is, you're talking about the possibly Kylo having a limp. You know, he doesn't actually chase after Rey when she disappears. He just stands there like a tube. Whereas even if they even had him with a limp, that would be a reason for him not going after.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bother with that either.
No, they don't. I mean, if they are taking video game inspiration, though, from The Force Unleashed, then they should know that it is not physically possible to switch from Force Pull to Force Lightning as quickly as she does it, because that requires at least 4 button presses, and you have to cycle through the and it's really, really difficult. So that's not a thing that should happen.
That is very much almost as if it was stolen from the X-Men franchise, like being under stress.
Probably.
So when the power comes out, which isn't how this works in Star Wars.
Chewie looks like he's putting a shitload of weight, doesn't he? He does. It's just weird.
We saw him eating about 6 porgs in the last film, so it's probably porg fat.
Yes,
Pork fat.
he's been piling it on with Lando. Chewie has. MC really summing up the sentiment so far. Well done, MC. I know you've not got any booze in your home there, but we're with you all the way on that one. So yes, Chewie's captured. They didn't really linger on his potential death very long. It was only a matter of seconds before then revealed he was still alive. And but yes, Chewie's captured. He gets a brief respite from being an Uber driver. He's taken on board the ship, and then we are introduced. Take a big drink, man, babies. Another pointless character's introduced. I think her name's Zorii Bliss. Am I right, Brian? I'm pulling that one out my arse. I mean,
yes.
I seem to still have some control of my bodily functions, but yes, we get this, and then bizarrely, in what half of the final film of a trilogy, JJ somehow tries to infer some kind of romance between this character and Poe. Darth Sith Lord, Lost Chord, please, your thoughts on Zorii Bliss.
Well, it's another instance of him trying to fast forward all the development that should have happened, sorry to say, in your film, when Poe spent his entire time being bitch slapped by Admiral Holdo and not actually getting any kind of character development. Now in this film, you kind of need to do something with him because he's there, he's a main character, they have the main 3 characters together. In this occasion, though, it's not just a case of trying to retcon and then jam in as much backstory for Poe as you possibly can. It's also a case of generic, lazy writing. This needs to happen. We need some other MacGuffin in order to get them off this planet. This is a person who has that MacGuffin that they can give to that person, but they wouldn't give that to that person unless they knew that person. So we might as well make them some kind of past flame of Poe's. And inexplicably, because it's one of the most valuable artifacts in the galaxy, this magical disc that can get them through all Imperial blockade. She just says, yeah, you can have it. But it's also a really fantastic example of Rey as Mary Sue. It's probably the best example of Rey as Mary Sue. There are many examples of it, but this is the clearest one, because one of the foremost traits of a Mary Sue is that everyone inexplicably likes them for no apparent reason. So in this scene, she beats the shit out of everyone. She knocks Zorii Bliss down to the floor, as we see in this particular clip. Zorii Bliss holds the gun to her. Rey says, we really need your help. And Zorii Bliss says something like, I like this one. And that's it. Sorted. Everyone loves Rey. So it's got almost every single aspect of this film's bad writing is contained within this scene. Hastily manufactured characters, hastily manufactured backstory, Rey as Mary Sue, another MacGuffin, and then all these things come together. And then, of course, in this one, a character who dies but doesn't. So it literally is everything wrong with this film in the space of 2 scenes.
Wow, you found a positive. Well done, Lost Chord. Well done. You found it. He's managed to condense it all into one neat scene for us. Excellent observations, my friend. Okay, I need to hand over to our resident goldenrod, Zee-ThreePO, and I'm going to put it to you, all of you. Maybe one positive in this movie is C-3PO. I do think he got a reasonable send-off, a reasonable amount of screen time. He actually got some lines. I thought the whole memory wipe and some of the humor around that was, bearable at least. But the only man really who can give us the final say on that is the man himself, Z3. What do you make of yourself in this movie, Z3?
I am indeed the most popular character in this entire movie, sir. Everybody loves
concur.
me. I have all the best lines, and, well, I sacrifice myself. Could there be a cause any more noble than that?
And I have to ask, what was it like looking at your friends for the last time? The people you barely know for a matter of hours.
I've never met these people before in my life. I was going through some old memory files, and saw a picture of Master Luke and Leia and R2-D2. My real friends, not these individuals. Poe and Tinky Winky and Rey.
Oh, good God. I mean, that could be the perhaps the biggest insult in the entire movie when C3 looks at people he's barely met, barely known. They've had nothing but bad things to say about him, and he says that line about looking at his friends for the last time. Oh, good God. Yeah, so look, Brian, I want to ask you, what do you make of C-3PO in this film? Because I do believe I rewatched it just today, and I would say it's one of the few highlights. He has some good lines, some good humor. I enjoyed, but I'm saying it, people. I could be blind drunk, but I enjoyed some of C3's moments in this film. What about yourself?
I would agree. It was a diamond in a field of manure, to be quite honest, and really something I wasn't expecting. I thought Anthony Daniels was brilliant in this, and if you're a C-3PO fan at all, you'll probably certainly like his moments in it. A lot of decent humour in it that's around his character. Just a very big surprise. Expectations subverted, you might actually say.
Yeah, it was. I think Anthony Daniels, we need to give him credit. I'm not sure who's in the suits. I mean, I think he's getting on in years, but he was certainly the voice of C-3PO, I believe. And then we're introduced to another droid. So sorry, R2, no time for you on screen, but we do get to introduce a new droid. And I'm going to be controversial here. Again, I could be way beyond the tolerance of my alcohol limits, but I like this little droid. I think when I saw the images before the film came out, I was not too enamored with him. It looked like a hairdryer on a wheel. But look, shoot me down here, man, babies. I thought he had something interesting going on with this kind of droid who'd been mistreated, and he was rather hesitant to human contact. I thought there was something in there. I don't know.
It's the droids as pets meme. But this is literally JJ's self-insert character, because he does the voice, but also he's the only one who can actually make sense of the plot from this point onwards. So it is actually, this character is literally JJ. Without this character, nothing else happens. It still makes no sense, but at least we've got JJ to make it happen. So hooray for what's the droid's name?
Dio.
That's the one.
Dio.
It's absolute shit. What a horrible design. It looks like they've just taken the wheel off someone's go-kart, stuck a hairdryer on top of it, and gave it a squeaky. But it was absolutely ridiculous. Fucking shit movie.
May I just say, I think...
sorry, Brian.
I think we've missed one of the stars of this show. This movie, even, in Babu Frick.
Well, hey!
Jim Henson.
Let me skip back to him. Where is he? He's fiddling away at the back of C3's head doing something. There he is. Babu Frick. You like Babu Frick, Brian?
Yeah, I thought he was quite kind of, unironically, I thought he was really pretty good. It was some kind of Jim Henson quality that Yoda shares as well. Obviously nothing like as iconic as Yoda, but there was something pretty cool about him.
He just looks like a toy.
Oh,
He does look like a toy.
To give the film
Craig, you're right, by the way. I've had far too much titty milk. I'm way beyond my limits here. So this is going to be fun, because I do believe we're not even halfway through this goddamn movie. God bless the 17 people who are sticking with us here. This must be absolute torture, but
it only gets better. If I'm being as kind to the film as I possibly can, like, the only thing about this film which comes anywhere close to resembling the original trilogy is the humor. So it is some of C-3PO's lines. It is a character like Babu Frick. There's a couple of other moments in it which you look at, and they're not abysmal, and some of them even elicit a chuckle. And they're the closest thing this film gets to its preeminent sort of forebears.
I think you're being too kind.
I did say I was trying to be, but yes.
There's nothing of the original Star Wars in this film whatsoever. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just, this film is dire.
Oh no, it is.
Maybe Geek, while I've got you, can I just get your directorial take on Rey's acting in the background here?
So I was drinking there. She's probably trying to remember her lines, or the lack of it. That's probably what it is. Seriously.
What a compelling pose she strikes.
This
is
film
that Daisy? I thought it was a chair.
Yeah, it's painful. This film is painful. To recall this film is even... It's worse. It really is. You know?
Does anyone
so
know who
bad.
voiced Babu? Brian, I'm guessing you're our best bet at this point, being Scottish. You seem probably got the capability of handling alcohol better than any of us.
She's an actress. Oh God, I cannot remember her name. I think she actually is Scottish herself. I'd have to do the IMBD
interesting.
on the fly.
Craig, we'll get back to you on that, but easy on the trivia, my man. We are well deep into our alcoholic beverages at this point. Okay, so we'll cycle forward. Zorii Bliss, and then
It's Shirley Henderson, apparently.
Oh, there we go.
Is this when Finn took on what's her name, and just disposes this? Or is it the second one? I can't.
No,
you know
that's
totally
the last
lost.
when
Totally lost.
It all merges into one big shit fest, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really does.
So they land on this ship using the access code given by Zorii, having got the knife and the inscription, the wayfinder, and they found the planet, and then they found the ship, and then they're here, something like that. Anyway, and yeah, this features another one of these slow-mo scenes, I think it is anyway, where it's coming up in a moment where they're running down the corridor, blasting the hell out of stormtroopers. It is one of the most cringy scenes I've ever seen in Star Wars. But yes, this whole sequence coming up is rather just bizarre, really. So we've got Chewie being rescued. So Chewie wasn't dead for very long. No one's ever really gone. And then they're finally cornered by all the stormtroopers. I mean, let's face it, we've seen the shooting ability of these guys. I think if they just got up and ran, they'd have a damn good chance of making it away.
Chewbacca's naked there, isn't he? Chewie's completely naked.
Chewie's butt naked.
Butt naked.
That's a 7-point observation, that one. 7 point even. God, I can't even
They
speak
took
now.
his dignity from him. God damn them. Chewie. Right, I've just spilled drink down the front. Oh, thanks, Ian. Okay, right. And we have Rey with the dagger. And
God, her acting. Sorry, that image is a still image, but fucking hell, the acting. So now she's just been reduced to a 1 again.
Yeah.
Oh no, she was doing so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go back to the dagger. At this point, I was trying to work out what is it? Where the hell's the Wayfinder play into all this? And the Yoshi ship or whatever his name was, I don't know. I'm completely lost the plot at this point, but apparently the dagger's important. So
not at this point, it's not. They don't
so
need the
then we
dagger.
have another force time scene, don't we? Where Kylo's looking for Rey, where Rey was previously, and Rey is now in Kylo's quarters on his ship. So
in his apartment, yeah.
Yeah.
All the while during this scene, all the while they're being hunted by the Knights of Ran, who decide that rather than split up and cover more ground, they're just going to march around in formation and do one street or one house at a time, and then they just don't pop up again until they're back on their ship later.
That's so you know who they are, because otherwise, if they're not together, you'll not have a clue who the fuck they are.
Well, the script is so unconfident in that it still tells us who they are later, and we're more than halfway through the film.
That's right. One of the stormtroopers says that, doesn't it? It's like some friend just walked past it.
That's a friend, ghouls.
So at this point, I think we're having another flashback here, aren't we, Brian? Or are my eyes finally deceiving me? So
yes, another flashback.
Yeah, flashback to Rey's parents, I do believe, and what happened to them. We then have this. Clearly just set up for dramatic and visual effect, where they destroy the plinth and the Darth Vader helmet crashes to the floor, and Kylo then realizes where she is. We have the
naked Chewie still.
Naked Chewie, yes, trying to cover his dignity there. Question for everyone, both on the panel and in the chat. I do believe as we reach the 2-hour mark, it's an appropriate time to address this subject. Does Chewie have a normal male penis, or does he have one of those dog-type red rocket things? Dark Sith Lord Lost Chord.
Hold on, I want to bring something up. Those stormtroopers on the left, they're overweight, aren't they?
It's a bit
very portly. Look at them.
Body positivity stormtrooper. Oh, you can buy and from all good.
I'm not letting you divert from my important question. The chat are already answering it, but I want to answer from each of you. Darth Sith Lord lost Chord.
I'm sure there's some kind of Rule 34 website which will tell us this definitively, but I'm siding with chat and saying Red Rocket, I think.
Yes,
Mind
there's a
you,
consensus, isn't there?
there are many other types of animal penis that it could go for. Like ducks have corkscrew penises. Maybe he has a corkscrew penis.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
And whales have prehensile ones, which is where hentai comes from, because they actually can move them. So I don't think he's got a hentai whale penis, but yeah. No, I think Red Rocket's a safe bet, probably.
Brian, Red Rocket or normal male penis?
I'm going for a 15-incher that's strapped to his leg. Hidden by the fur.
Z3, has he got a goldenrod or has he got a Red Rocket?
I'm the spy. Yeah, definitely a Red Rocket. Definitely.
Yes, we have a consensus.
Good
Ben's
old
got talent in the
15-incher, which just
Yes,
merges
there
it
we
with his
go.
fur. He's actually had it out for 9 movies.
Brown is sat at home with his head in his hand listening to this discussion. We've spent 5 minutes on Chewie's penis on the 2-hour mark. You're welcome, Brownie. Anytime you want me to take the reins, old boy. Okay.
But you know what, right? The only person you can ask is that girl that was in the first movie, The Force Awakens, the one that Han Solo went to see, because she fancied
Maz.
Chewie, didn't she? Yeah, she
Maz.
fancied Chewie.
Yeah.
Kanata.
Yeah.
Maz Kanata does, but in Solo, Han Solo and Chewie have a naked shower scene together, so Han Solo presumably knows as well.
Oh,
Wow.
A good story for another day.
For
So Rey, take a big drink, take a gulp, you man babies, because Rey seems to save the day yet again.
You know how I said that she nicks everyone else's powers, and there she's literally nicked his bowcaster.
Yeah. God, what a bitch. Okay. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry. Broke character for a moment. Okay, so we...
Another Empire rip-off scene.
Oh, yes, it is indeed. We have the gloved hand reaching out for the Red Rockets. Where are we going with this? Yes, now this was interesting. Now, I do recall this. Beginning to sober up now. I've been drinking that long. So... this is the moment where Rey seems somewhat stranded, but the Millennium Falcon turns up. You're right, Brian. It's a well, not a callback to Empire. It's just a blatant rip-off. What I found rather bizarre is they turn the ion engines on, which floors all the stormtroopers. Kylo is using some kind of force power and digging in to remain upright. But did you all notice it didn't move Rey whatsoever? She stood there. I think it may have ruffled her bangs, but. Yeah, logic fail. Take a big drink.
Also, isn't space, because they're outside in space and gravity therefore does not apply. So why Finn is quite clearly squatting on the ramp as opposed to floating away from it, I don't know. Also, it's like minus 400 degrees, so they should be dead. And
no,
their
I think
eyeballs have exploded out of their sockets because it's
they're inside the field. You know, you have to open
shield.
the field, don't you? The shield,
shield
so they're inside the shield thing, aren't they?
I thought she
they're
jumped
kind of
through that, didn't she?
I don't know, and I don't care. I really don't.
I just want to draw your attention to our drinking rules, and also we have Finn. And what do we think Finn's shouting here at this point?
He's shouting for his agent. He wants out.
Give me some character development.
Take a big one, man, babies. He's indeed shouting his one and only line. Oh, then we get to poor Admiral Hughes. We've not even touched on the fact that Admiral Hughes, remarkably and without any kind of
reason,
foresight, turned out to be the spy, or the turncoat, whatever we want to call him.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, he's killed in this scene. Poor child.
The only way it makes sense is out universe, because we mentioned that it's mentioned there's a First Order spy. There is literally one First Order character that we know, so it could only possibly have been him. And we also know that Richard E. Grant, which is, but I actually, again, on the subject of things we like about this film, I like Richard E. Grant in this film. I think he does Sinister really well. I don't like the reason he's there. I would have preferred that he was there instead of Hux from the beginning, because he does the Tarkin-esque sinisterness very, very well. But we also know by his introduction that he's going to replace the other person whose position he is taking, which is going to be Hux. So even though nobody forecasts the betrayal of Hux, it is forecasted because the entire mechanics of the film determine that he is the traitor, even though his reasons are batshit insane. He just hates Kylo. That's the reason for betraying the First Order. Great writing there. But
yeah, no,
I like Richard. Richard E. Grant is good in this film, I will say.
I used to like him, but until he went on to Twitter going, "This film is," I almost started crying and all that.
Oh.
Then that's when I cut there.
But he had he had a Mark Hamill moment because he was ambiguous about it in the original interviews. There are some interviews of him earlier where he says, "Look, you know, you're not going to please everyone, and some of the choices made in this film people won't like very much, and I can understand why." And evidently Disney got to him because then he goes and gives this Twitter face cam thing when he's gushing over the film. But I think that was a case of he's someone broke into his house and had a gun against his wife's head.
No, he's like, he wanted work and he got work, didn't he? He starred in what was that stupid Loki thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he got work. That's what these actors are about. They just want to work. And so, you know, he kissed ass and he got work from Disney, didn't he? So that was that.
I just wanted him to throw in the line from Withnail and I, like, here comes another fucker.
Great movie. Okay, so our heroes end up on a
we still got
I don't know what
to
kind of
go.
planet this is, but it's a planet with the remnants of the Death Star having descended upon it, and we've got these 50-foot waves, and obviously Rey staring there thinking, never seen water in my entire life, but I'm sure I could sail a ship over those waves on my own. So take a drink for Rey being the bestest at everything. Here she goes, the rip-off scene from the Goonies. Yes, she lines up the dagger with the background. This just made no sense whatsoever.
If they'd walked the Death Star an inch away from where they currently are, it wouldn't have worked.
No. If you go back one slide, just go back one slide, you can see quite clearly they're at Knife Rock.
Knife Rock, right on the right there. That it says "Stand here and open dagger." There's a little plot right on the top.
That's what the inscription said.
Yeah, that's the inscription on the top of that rock. It says "Open the knife right here."
Well, there we go. That's why we have you on Z3. Okay, so within Space Horses, everyone take a drink for Space Horses, another pointless insert into the Disney canon. So then we have, what's her name? Django Fett or something? What is her name, Brian? I can't even remember.
Jana.
Her
name's Jana.
Yes. So then we have, of all the people turn up, it's Lando's daughter turns up. Obviously there's some suspicion originally, but she agrees to help them because everyone loves Rey. And they go back to the ship, and then I wonder where this was going. I thought for a minute I thought surely not, with quarter of the final movie to go. They're not trying to build up a romance between Finn and Django here, but they obviously strike up a conversation about both being former stormtroopers. Brian, give me the context of this scene because I can barely speak at this point.
I think you've just covered it. She used to be a stormtrooper. He used to be a stormtrooper. The parallels are there, and absolutely fuck all happens between them, which is
just like his love affair with Rose, really.
Yes, but it's
blue balled all the way.
Going back to what Maggie said earlier, though, about the clear evidence of remnants of old scripts being used. I mean, this is probably the clearest evidence there is. And the really irritating thing about it is how clear the evidence is that something kind of genuinely dark and interesting was once planned for this character. It's never, in this version, confirmed that she is Lando's daughter. You get sort of hints at it. But if you had actually taken that line, Lando has a daughter. The daughter is taken by the First Order because we know that they take children. And they rediscover each other. There's a huge amount of plot you can build out of that. And it could be really beguilingly dark. It could be really interesting. But instead of doing that, they thought, nah, fuck it. We'll just have her in and make them interact once. You have some really good material in this film, and they've just chosen to discard that in favor of the really crap stuff at the end. And it's inexplicable why they should do that, apart from that they are talentless hacks with no investment in the franchise. So actually, it's perfectly explicable why they should do that.
Well, observation there from Ethan Van Driver. Was this scene in the Chinese version? I can confirm no, it was cut out of the Chinese version, Ethan. So, yes, of course, that's the Disney standard. But then we get to Rey The girl who's never seen water in her entire life, managing to sail a ship up a 50-foot wave all on her own, take a drink for Rey being the bestest. Yes, rather bizarre scene. I can
What's the
hear
time? How long
groans
have we
from
got?
Mega Geek.
Jesus Christ.
Did you enjoy this scene, Mega Geek?
This scene sucks. It really does.
She is the
And what
bestest
follows
sailor
sucks.
ever.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's too dangerous. We can't possibly go. Hold
I
my
can,
beer.
lol. Forced sailing.
Oh, that was the ice that just came out of my my drink. I'm really fucked now. Oh,
Okay,
God,
so
this-
Rey finds a way to the the remnants of the Death Star, and to
how could this thing survive? It got blown to bits. There'd be
Got
nothing
fucking
left.
vaporized. What did
Yes.
Palpatine do? Did he surf it down from the atmosphere? I'm not dead.
Is this the rip-off of Empire Strikes Back scene? This is the
cave.
rip-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of all the parts to survive, obviously the most important throne room bit survives almost
Absolutely.
intact.
Even
Brian-
the glass in the windows. The glass in the windows survives this crash.
Oh yes, yeah, but yeah, barely shattered. Brian, I'm coming to you because I know you're a font of knowledge on Star Wars history. I seem to recall they played wild and loose with the layout in this room. Have you got any knowledge on that? Apparently, it wasn't. They didn't really pay much attention to the original layouts. Obviously, it's been blown to shit and dropped out of space, but there was some basic errors in the layout of this room. Or am I talking out my arse? Please.
I think he's not here. He says
Oh, no,
he's
he
back
did say
in
he'd
five
be back
Brian's
in
finally
5.
keeled over.
I think he's
Dark
gone
Sith
for a
Lord
fag.
Chord, could you give me your thoughts?
I'd have to see the specific clip as to whether they play fast and loose with the layout of it. It wouldn't at all surprise me if they had. But the only reason this scene is in here to begin with is, again, an example of the cheapest possible kind of fan service. I think the layout bit in question is the door to the side where she goes into what I assume is Palpatine's bedroom, where one assumes he fucked her parents, her grandparents. No, he gave birth to, no, one of these things. One assumes that this is where her parents came from in one form or another, which explains half the expressions he wears on his face in this film when he looks bizarrely satisfied with himself. Remembering stuff. But I think the bedroom thing is the thing they screw around with. But again, as has been said, there is no conceivable reason this chunk of the Death Star could survive intact for this scene in the film. They only did it because it needed to happen. They go into the Death Star. It gives Rey here her dark moment where she has this stupid fold-out lightsaber, which makes no goddamn sense, and then doesn't go anywhere afterwards because it's Rey and she's perfect and brilliant and there's never any chance that she could actually turn to the dark side. But credit for the film for at least suggesting that she might consider it, maybe, because that doesn't happen otherwise.
So we get you've queued us up nicely. We get the Dark Rey scene, and I'm going to revisit the whole Rey rating. Z3, kick us off. What about Dark Rey? Does this improve your view of Rey at all? Would you give it a better rating than Good Rey?
No, not at all. This one's got very bad dental problems.
It's the Bilbo Baggins thing. They've literally lifted it from the Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely. Have you ever seen that happen anywhere in any of the other films at all? No.
Nope.
So they have a scene where she does Sith teeth. Is that a power?
Sith teeth.
Force teeth.
Yeah.
That's a new one again.
Need some Colgate just to scrub it a bit.
It's a wasted opportunity. This should be the character that Finn was fighting against.
Definitely.
Yes.
Do you not think it would have been a lot more satisfying if she had turned to the dark side, got
Also,
this lightsaber, and
her costume's pretty cool as well. This costume
yeah.
here.
There's
Pretty cool.
potentially, I do believe there was. I agree with Time Prophets. It was introduced, it was dangled in front of us, like a golden carrot, but no, it was just left there as a dream, a sequence, or whatever we're calling it. I do believe there's potential. I do believe if JJ had the ball to actually go there and turn Rey fully dark side, we may have had something interesting. I'm not saying it would have fixed everything and it would have been a fantastic movie, but it would have been a bold way to go. But he bottled it. Any other thoughts on Dark Rey while we're lingering on this image?
On that very point, just quickly, or I'll try and make it quickly anyway. I'm not good at quickly, but I'll try. So there is a really good way that you could have what you just set out happen and still have her be the hero of it. If you have her turn to the dark side, and it's the Anakin Skywalker thing again, as George Lucas says, it's like poetry, it rhymes. If she turns to the dark side and Finn then becomes the Jedi, Finn can't, however, be as powerful as she is. He can't possibly save this whole mess. She's the one who ultimately needs to do it. He can convince her to come back to the light side, and she ultimately wins. Then you've covered all your bases. You've got Rey as the most powerful super duper character ever, but you've also got a fleshed out secondary character in Finn, who also gives you more diverse representation amongst the Jedi, being like the third black person in the Star Wars galaxy. That helps. Everything comes together. I think the only reason that they wouldn't have accepted that is that it requires more than 2 seconds of thought to put together. So, of course, Kathleen Kennedy looked at it and didn't agree, because if you have a female character who is persuaded by a male character, then it's disempowering of women. So you can't do that. But that seems to be, if there's one way to rescue this terrible arc, that's the way you do it. And that could have made for a really intriguing film. You would have also got the subversion of expectations mentioned earlier, and having a main character who actually is evil for a time and then redeemed again as Anakin was. So there are ways that you could have made this a half decent endeavor, and they deliberately, given that they had the script, they deliberately chose not to do any of that. So hooray for Star Wars.
Well, we sadly move on from Dark Rey, because as pretty much JJ did in the movie, and we're back to Emo Ren, and has he got the old Wayfinder in his palm there? We have yet another head-to-head, and I think we're leading up to the battle between Rey and Kylo Ren, which we've seen multiple times before. Every single time Kylo gets his arse kicked, so there's no peril here. We've got Rey, who's bestest ever. Go on, Ian.
No, I was just saying it was the worst lightsaber fight I'd seen in the whole of the trilogy. It was really bad. There was nothing flashy about it at all. It's like they didn't have any time to do anything with it. Let's face it. So I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about when they go outside, innit, and they fight in the waves and stuff. That absolute bollocks, absolute rubbish.
Yes, there we go. It's segue into that scene nicely, and yeah, I mean, look,
but she is losing here, which is the only time in this entire arc that Rey actually is losing. And
no, she's not losing. She tripped. She fell down a couple of times, and
he clearly beats her down several times. So she falls down in this one, but repeatedly he knocks her down, and then this particular fight ends with her on her knees. Not going anywhere sinister with this, I promise. Her on her knees, and her lightsaber basically discarded, and Kylo could kill her if he wants to. Kylo actually does win this fight until Leia appears here and distracts him, and then Rey just becomes an absolute bitch and stabs him while he's not looking. So hooray for Rey.
Yeah, strange intervention from Leia to distract the son and lead to his ultimate demise or possible demise. But yes, that was a final. It's a final contribution to the whole of Star Wars. One of the most beloved characters, and yes, it's just to distract the son so he can lose and almost be killed. Thanks, JJ. Awesome. And there it is. There's the moment. It's evokes the same scene where Han was killed in a similar manner. But yes, Rey giving it the cross hilt to the stomach. And,
that's how much they hate men in this film. Seriously. It's oh god, it's so insulting. It really is. I don't even. KK's married to the other producer that produced The Bourne Identity. I can't remember his name. But she must hate her husband too, right? That's how much she hates men. I mean, why would you even consider this in the script?
Maybe
the heroine takes advantage of the guy and stabs him while he's talking to his mum, basically.
Maybe Rey penetrating Kylo is actually a kind of projection from KK as to what she does with her husband.
Frank Marshall, that's his name. But no, I mean, when you look, I'm serious about this. This film is sinister. It really is. The stuff that happens in this film, right? It's just terrible. It really is. It just has a pop at men all the time, all the way through this film, all the way through it. It's ridiculous. From Poe being useless to Finn being, what's that scene? Was all the water's coming out of him? Or was that the other one?
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
That was my masterpiece.
But just saying, even this male character here, he gets killed and then he gets brought back to life or healed.
Yeah,
by
and then
this
ultimately he dies to save her as well, which is
exactly. It's having the whole thing has a pop at men. It really does. The whole film, if you look closely.
Yeah, but the thing
I'm not even making this up. If you look at the film carefully,
you're right. But
crazy.
The really maddening thing is this doesn't actually elevate female characters, because what we get as a result of this is one of the most bland, unlikable, and unrelatable characters in the entire history of modern cinema in Rey. Because they think the only thing worth knowing about a female character is how powerful she is. And the only way to empower a female character is to make her the most powerful person in the galaxy at the expense of every other character in the show or in the film. So not only do they take all the powers away from Poe in particular, but also they clearly show over and over again how much she is superior to Kylo just by having none of the training. In doing so, they don't make her any more interesting as a character. They just make everyone else dull to empower a woman in this shallowest of modern political empowerments of women, which is just to say, well, they can do everything, therefore they're the best, therefore representation. Hooray! Yeah, great. That's brilliant. Well done. Fantastic writing. Again,
it's just awful.
I mean, the problem you've got as well, you introduce the concept like force healing, and arguably it may have been around, but as soon as you introduce this, you take out all peril from the movie, and I don't know, Kylo still dies at the end, spoiler alert, but I mean, when you have a situation where anyone can take a mortal wound and then be healed, I mean, we're just in cuckoo land, because there's never any peril. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, why did she heal him? Why? He was just trying to kill her.
She senses Leia's death, I think, doesn't she, as well?
Yeah, but it makes no sense. This guy was been trying to kill her for the whole of the movie, for the whole 3 movies, and yet she decides to heal him. Why?
Because
I like Time Prophet's concept here. If you have force healing, you should lose a part of yourself. There has to be a penalty for you losing this power.
They do actually explain this. When she force heals the weird snake thing underneath the sinking sand, she does actually explain to BB-8 that it's transferring force energy from yourself to the thing you're healing. So they explain that there is a payoff to this, a cost to this. The thing is that she never actually experiences the cost. So, A, how does she know this? Because no one's ever told her and she's never been taught. But B, why do they go to the trouble of explaining how this works only to have her immune to the effects they've just had her explain to people? It makes absolutely no sense. And as Rowan says, it completely takes away any meaningful stakes or sense of peril from the film because, well, fuck it. Someone's dying, Rey can heal them. Rey's dying, well, she can heal herself. It's all good. No point to watch the film at that point.
It's just there to actually make all men look weak. That's basically what this whole Disney saga is all about. Well, I'm not even joking here. I'm serious. Serious about this.
We've got to that part of our drunken state where we're just angry now. It's not fun anymore.
I'm not angry. It's blatantly obvious now when you're drunk.
If you want funny though, this scene is just objectively hilarious. This is Kylo Ren forgiving himself for genocide. So that's pretty funny because he just remembers a memory of his father that doesn't exist. You forgive himself for blowing up entire planets and killing his own father. So well done, Kylo. That is just quite funny as a writing device.
And I have to say, Jonathan Brent in the chat is absolutely right. As soon as you introduce force healing, you start going back over every other Star Wars film and think, well, why didn't someone force heal this person in this moment? And he mentions Obi-Wan force healing Qui-Gon. And yes, there's so many other occasions where a character could have been force healed. It's a bit like the Holdo maneuver. You introduce this ridiculous concept and it just messes up with everything that's come before. This scene, though, I mean, firstly, I was surprised they got Harrison back, even to just do a 5-minute segment, although I'm sure he was
Paid a
very
shitload
well
of money.
recompensed for it. But yeah, what's going on here? Because is it suggesting Han has some kind of Force ghost ability? Is it a vision? Is it in Kylo's internal thoughts? What's going on? Someone help.
I tell you what's going on, right? They knew the movie was failing. They had to try and get more of the old stars in it because they realized that they messed up and they didn't put the Beatles back together in the first one. So that's just what they're trying to do. And so they said, Harrison, do you want to come back into the movie? And he said, no fucking way. And they said, well, here's a check. And he went, okay. And that was that. So, I mean, it's as simple as that, really. Let's face it. It's not rocket science, you know.
I mean, why at this point is he not going? Is this a voice in my head too? Is this the Emperor?
We'll get to that. That's
what's going on here.
I mean, to answer the direct question, it is actually explained in that scene that it is not a ghost; it is a memory. Han Solo actually says he is a memory, which makes no sense anyway. But it's not a Force ghost, so yeah. But on the subject of voices and heads, maybe I'll save that for the end. But my God, the things you could do with that line, just unbelievable.
We're getting there. So we have a planet being destroyed. We'll just chuck that in for a bit of fun. Am I right in saying this
is the moment everyone dies? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, this is the moment we all lose the will to live as well, actually. So this was the planet they were on just recently, wasn't it? I was going to say Kamino. It's not Kamino. It's Kajuki, Kazuko. I don't know. So they destroy a planet. Good old Lando's back, and Poe's having self-doubt. And Ian, you're going to love this because Poe couldn't be less masculine if he tried. He's unsure of himself. He's oh good God.
After the last, he was so sure of himself in the first one, and now suddenly he's lost faith in what he's doing.
Yes,
he
went against Leia, a command when she was alive, but when she's dead, he's now racked with doubts.
Yeah,
it's almost like the directors are making this shit up as they go along.
And why is Lando dressed in that crappy clothes again? Why is he so stupid, isn't it? It really is.
Lando's still rocking the same yellow shirt and cape that he was 40 years ago. Yes, remarkable. But look, we're getting to an epic moment, and hey, God. If you're in the UK, we're at 1 a.m. here. We're going strong, 2.5 hours in almost. But we're getting to it. It's finally the return of Luke after Ruin Johnson. My good self dumped his arse right out of Star Wars. So Rey flees to the island. She's got a hood up as well, just a call back to our comment 2 hours ago. She decides to put a hood up and went in front of a fire.
In front of a fire.
A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
That's the line. Well done, sir. So she tosses into the fire, and out comes Force Ghost Mark Hamill. Z3, go on. You've given us the line. What's the thinking here? Is this JJ just giving it back to Ruin?
Ultimate piss on Ruin after throwing it away at the start of The Last Jedi. Is just completely turn it around. Most of this film is just them two pissing up a wall with millions of dollars behind them. It is the most childish thing ever.
It is like two children fighting over a toy, but with billions of dollars in
These are my Star Wars toys.
Oh, good Lord. How did this be? At this moment, I'm wondering, am I dreaming all this? Or
what is it? What is it with female characters that their trousers never fits them? Doctor Who? What the hell? And this one? Is this some kind of trend that's happening? Well, I give in. Seriously. It's absolute. Seriously, what is this shit all about?
Young people in their short trousers, and their hoods, and their lightsabers.
No training.
No training.
Do you notice in this entire sequence you never get to see Mark Hamill's right hand?
Oh God! What are you implying,
Harks back to The Last Jedi. I think Rian Johnson that we're thinking about possibly having his hand collapse, his false hand fall along his robe.
Really?
Oh wow, that would have been borderline.
Well, he
comedy.
would have his real hand back, wouldn't he? Because if he's a ghost, he'll be.
He would have,
back.
but I think they deliberately kept it out the way he's hiding his hand if you watch it.
Oh, I see. Mm.
So here's an observation, and I'm amazed at myself for almost still remembering this at this point of the night. I think I'm right in saying, correct me if I'm wrong, the door to Luke's hovel, or whatever we're calling it, is made out of part of his X-wing.
Yeah.
That's correct, isn't it? But then in the next scene, he raises the X-wing and Rey flies off in it. So what part of the X-wing was it from? Was it integral to its ability to fly? And also, this damn X-wing's been underwater for what?
Years.
At least several years, isn't it? It's not like it's been in Yoda's swamp for a few days. I mean, this
that looks like the panel from the back of the engines.
Oh, don't even talk to me about this scene, please.
Oh,
just
God.
gets
Railing
somehow
on men
worse.
again. Yes.
Yes, Luke gets his arse kicked. Like he wasn't disgraced enough in the last movie. He gets his arse kicked. We have a CGI fest. Leia's doing some Jedi training. And here it is.
There's so much fascinating
raise-
stuff you could do with that. And the expanded universe did do some fantastic and fascinating stuff with that, with Leia's training as a Jedi. There's so much that you could have taken as the basis of a sequel trilogy, as opposed to throwing it in flashbacks in the actual sequel trilogy we got. Why would you not want to... They clearly see the value in it because they keep flashing back to this period. Why would you not do a sequel trilogy about that first and then move on to this stuff once you've set it up?
Because you'll be focusing on Luke and they don't want to focus on the man. I keep telling you, it's raining on men this whole movie. That's all it's doing.
I should have added to the list every time a man gets ridiculed, take a drink. But at this point, we're challenging our very ability to function in life. So, okay, we press on. Wrong set. Here we go. So the X-wing's been risen from the water. We get C-3PO meeting R2-D2 for the first time.
Hooray!
He's had his memory wiped, and I think R2 does restore his memory. I think I'm right. There we go.
And somehow my memory returned.
Oh, it's a great line. And then this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole of Star Wars. Rey with the Luke's helmet on. She takes his helmet, his X-wing, his lightsaber, his name. Is there anything else Rey steals from Luke?
Bollocks.
No, Kathleen Kennedy did that to every male character in this film.
She's a kleptomaniac of the worst kind, isn't she? She's still literally anything that's not nailed down.
That's a scavenger in her.
Still works.
So she flies this X-wing, which has been underwater for however many goddamn years or decades. But hey, that's Rey, the bestest. Take another big drink, man, babies. And then we have the reconvening of the rebels. Incidentally, I don't even recall Tico making an appearance at this point. I think she has about 3 scenes in the whole movie. I mean, did JJ deliberately sideline her? Did he have too many balls to juggle? What was going on with poor Tico?
She's in the earlier one when they're discussing. She's in the somehow Palpatine return scene, I think, and the one where Mary from the Lord of the Rings says, you know, dark science, cloning, secrets only the Sith know. I think she has a scene there. But as for whether or not it's deliberately writing her out of the show, it's hard to interpret it in any other way, given how much public backlash there was about her role in TLJ, and the fact that she was asked whether she was coming, and she just said, "Nah, I've got other things to do." Yeah, I reckon that's another deliberate and quite public retcon, I think. But
perhaps she did have bits and little bits here and there, but they took it out. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I could be going hallucinating here, but I feel like we've already seen this slide. But I don't think it's an error from Brown. I think it's just JJ now recycling the same shit within the same movie. Unbelievably,
same shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is that the antenna, the tower there.
That
wasn't there
on
before.
the right, yes. This is what they use, isn't it, to levitate?
In the upper left quarter of the screen, why is one of them facing in completely the opposite direction.
He didn't know which way was left. Does it not occur to any of these people who spent the last 2 hours hovering here to look out the bloody window?
They had the genius to build this whole fleet, but not the genius to work out which way to point the ship.
Jump, and go in the opposite direction to the one you land in. That would also work. Or a helium balloon, if you've got a circus clown on board, that would help.
So we are building up to the finale, if we can call it that. So well done, man babies, for hanging on in there. This is where Palpatine starts firing lightning at the rebel ships, and obviously they're coming to. We're building up to the big space battle, aren't we? We're building up to the space battle versus cut between Rey taking on Palpatine, but. Let's face it, at this point, we just want the goddamn film to finish. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, we have space horses. We have horses literally running along the side of a Star Destroyer. What they're hoping to achieve or do, I cannot begin. Brian, help me rationalize what the hell is going on.
What is going on? Sorry, I was replying to Tim Possible. They sent me a message. I'm terribly sorry. Well, obviously, the only way you can take down a Star Destroyer is by having some nice space horses. At this point, we should be thankful it wasn't pantomime horses, to be quite honest. But there's a scene just coming up where they blatantly rip off Return of the Jedi. They point at the deck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
But they know that they're doing this. Does nobody think, they're running vertically along the port side? And somebody goes, wait, I've just worked out which way up is.
Just tilt the goddamn ship, they'll all go hurtling off into space.
Not only have I worked out how to get out of this, but if you tilt the ship 30 degrees, they'll all slide off the side and plunge to the ground.
Oh my good lord, this film is.
But why did they
really
use the
something
horses though? They've got like X-wings and shit. And why didn't I give
My
in.
guess is they were trying to maybe do a callback to Return of the Jedi, the whole primitive weapons and versus the technology of the First Order. But it if you thought Ewoks were ridiculous, good God, this concept of space horses on Star Destroyers is next level.
Someone on Twitter was posting concept art of what the film could and maybe should have been, and one of them showed Finn with a lightsaber riding a space horse, and they said, look, Finn being a Jedi would have made this film so much better. And I was like, no, because he would still have been riding a space horse on a Star Destroyer that doesn't know which way is up. So there's only so much you can fix by having Finn as a Jedi. And Star Destroyers not knowing which way is up while space horses ride over them isn't fixed by that character change. So there's no one simple, quick, easy fix to this mess.
It's all shit.
And again, just when you thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, we have Kylo Ren squaring up to his old buddies and protectors, the Knights of Ren. So it's the first time we're actually going to ever see them in action, and they're about to get slaughtered. So it's yes, rather strange way to use them, JJ, but nevertheless. And then we have Rey being awesome Rey as she always is. She's going to go head to head with Palpatine and take him on. We've got Kylo turning good. Well, any thoughts on Kylo making the face turn, rather, to use a wrestling analogy?
It would have been safer to transport the lightsaber not ignited.
I think he's scratching his head there.
I mean, had he
Looks
grabbed
like he's
it
scratching his
wrong
head.
when she teleported it over to him, he could have cut his head off.
That's right.
I quite like the way he portrayed Ben Solo. Just little subtle. I can't speak after this drink. Little subtleties of his movements and some copying of Harrison Ford. It was quite cool. He is a Juilliard
good
school
actor, isn't he? He is a good actor. I enjoyed him in The Last Night, I think it was called. Last Duel, sorry. One I watched recently. Look, Adam Driver's a good actor. I think just possibly miscast, but certainly miswritten or mishandled in these movies, but
he was famous for being in Girls, the TV show Girls. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. No, that's where he came from.
Don't know that
Came
one.
from that.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that show Girls.
He's definitely a skilled.
In the modern
Time Prophet
Hollywood,
didn't like the last duel. Oh well, okay. I'm on my own on that one.
He was he was in the army, and then
he was a Marine, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a Marine, and he got hurt, and then he decided to become an actor. That's what I heard, anyway. I don't know.
You could say, of course, being famous for being in Girls was probably one of the reasons Disney decided to cast him. But
oh my word! Okay, 2 hours 38, people. It was always going to go that way. Okay, so we've got Palpatine using the old Force lightning on the two of them. This is possibly the most ridiculous shot in. I mean, this is like some kind of stupid wallpaper for. I mean, what on earth? What's like going on? It's just ridiculous. It's classic JJ, isn't it? Bigger, more of them. Yes, he's basically just crammed as many ships into one scene as he can. It looks utterly ridiculous. Then we've got Lando. Lando's enjoying himself, you know.
And he's still wearing that stupid jacket. What the hell's going on here? What, he didn't find any new clothes ever since the years went on? Do you know what I mean? Seriously.
In the last film, they asked for help from the rebels, and they went, lol, no. But Lando this time managed to get everybody and their cat involved.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
In such a short period of time. How did he do this?
And take a drink, man, babies, because I think we've got another legacy character.
Wedge.
This is old Wedge, isn't it?
Wedge.
Wedge making a cameo appearance here.
And if I remember rightly, he refused to be in the earlier ones because he thought it would be silly and ridiculous. So they must have paid him a lot of money.
Well, so he said no, and they gave him a check, and he said yes. That was it.
How it works. Yes.
Dennis Lawson is Ewan McGregor's uncle.
He is, yes, he is. He actually told Ewan McGregor not to take the part of Obi-Wan.
Wow.
But he took it anyway, yeah. So
Babu Frick making another appearance just for not Brian, though.
That guy.
And we've got Ian McDermott chewing the scenery, but hey, he's doing his thing, and we love him for it.
Hands like what's the name's feet.
It's still the best line in the whole stream, isn't it, Ian? Hands like
Brie Larson's feet.
But he's using them to great effect because look, he's shooting the lightning into the sky. He's taking out the rebel ships. Rey's dying, everyone, and at this point, everyone's cheering for it.
Yeah. Oh, is it true that I saw a clip, but I think it got taken off YouTube, where all the characters were there as Force ghosts?
Oh, that was actually a fantastic.
Was that a fan thing?
Fantastic clip. Yeah, and it just shows you how a fan can do something and have more. Visual creativity and than all these multi-million-pound writers and directors. Because yes, just by adding those Force ghosts, wow, the power it gave that scene was really incredible.
I bloody hate that scene.
What this one? Where she gets killed?
No, where all the Force ghosts talk to her because they put the voice of Ahsoka Tano in there, and it's like, what? Is she fucking dead now?
They do indeed.
It's one of my favorite characters.
And this is where this is the big climax. We've watched 3 movies, about 9 hours worth, and we just get to the point of Rey with the cross sabers taking on Palpatine. All he has to do is stop shooting lightning. That's all you have to do, Palps. Why do you keep shooting lightning? Oh, good God.
It looks like a painting.
It does look like a matte painting, you're right. I don't know what's happening here. Something's crumbling and breaking. It's our will to live, probably.
This is the bit where he's so everything is falling apart to the entire Sith civilization, which for inexplicable reasons exists on Exegol, is being shattered because when Palpatine is dying, he sends rocks and scenery flying into his crowd, and they all die because reasons. and then you get General Pride dying, and everyone else who's evil
that's right,
dying.
yes.
Like
Yes,
us, we're
so
dying when we're watching it.
but Rey's still dying, so there's still hope. Everyone, she
Hooray!
could come to an unfortunate end, but yes,
Maybe.
Rey's dying, and then we get what JJ trying to please everyone. Take another drink. There's Finn. Everyone thinking Rey, if not shouting it. But JJ, he's really did go for the Reylo ending, didn't he? He tried to give that romance, but in the end, he ended up just pissing off the Reylos because he killed Kylo. I don't know. Did he make the right decision here? Did Kylo have to die? Well, I mean, it's hard to
No,
defend
no,
any of
not
this.
at all. He quite clearly heals her back to life, and then she kisses him and sucks all the life force out of him, killing him instantly.
Playing a corpse is Daisy Ridley's forte. You ask me. Hey, she's back.
Look at the love. Look at that look of love. How can you deny it?
They're all victims here of this film. All of them, all the actors and stuff like that. They signed up this, and they thought it was going to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to make their careers and all that stuff, and they ended up with this. And the last interview I saw with all of them, they do feel it did come across like they were disappointed with this film, especially a guy plays Poe. He I think he wasn't holding back with his answers, put it that way. So yeah.
Oh, I think he's quite famously come out afterwards, hasn't he, and said, "I'll maybe come back to Star Wars if I need a new house or something." But
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Welcome, Cam. You've come in right at the perfect time as we wrap this shit up, and he thinks it's an abomination. Okay, so we are now getting to that kind of the final moments of this movie. Is this Cloud City? It looks.
It is a city.
It is Cloud
Why
City.
is that Star Destroyer doing that?
I don't know.
Is it going
Isn't that the
behind it or
Senate?
into it?
Isn't that the Senate?
No, that looks like Cloud City to me.
It does look like Cloud City, doesn't it?
I'm going to go for the Senate.
Oh, okay.
Does it get blown up?
Is this? We've got a brief scene of the Ewoks celebrating. Yes.
So it's definitely not the Senate building. The Senate building goes down to the ground, and that is definitely cloud. Because I think that the scene actually pans down afterwards, and you see where the Star Destroyer is falling to, and it's pretty. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's Cloud City.
I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, Brian.
Well, if not, then it's killed about 5 million people on Coruscant. So,
hey.
And we've got the Star Destroyers falling into the desert, which it sets it up perfectly for the next young Rey to scavenge and start this whole trilogy all over again. So there we go. It's the circle of life. We get the celebration. I believe this was where the lesbian kiss was, and it was cut out for the Chinese audience. So well done on that, Disney. What's going on here? Is this it's Chewie getting the medal. I'm going to well up at this point
because he didn't get it in the first one.
Finally getting a medal. Maybe he can use it to cover his little red rocket. And Rey and BB-8. At this point, I'm sat in the cinema in a puddle of my own piss, wondering what I've been doing for the last 3 hours. This really just sticks in the throat. Lesbian action in the background, everyone. But in the foreground, we've got the 3 people who've spent virtually no time together, and we're supposed to feel some emotional reaction to this. I don't know. It seemed a stretch at best.
Yeah, it is. God.
And then again, more member berries. We'll just squeeze these in right at the end. We've got the sand crawler. I don't even remember this one, but yes.
This film sucks.
And of course, just when you thought you hadn't been kicked in the balls enough, we get this final scene of Rey going back to Tatooine, going to the Lars homestead. And I distinctly remember, I do want everyone's thoughts on this as we get, we're going to wrap up before the 3-hour mark, and God damn it, we've done well. I want everyone's reaction to either seeing this where they saw it at the cinema, wherever it may be. The cinema I was in could see this coming, and there were rumblings, and there were booings and jeerings, and effectively, we have Rey about to bury the lightsabers. Of course, she's going to bury them in the most horrendous place possible, where poor Luke's auntie and uncle were burned to death. But hey,
that's like burying Harry Potter's wand at Privet Drive, isn't it?
Under the stairs. Yes, it's pure comedy at this stage. She ignites the piss yellow lightsaber. We enjoy that moment, and then we get this randomer turn up with the space camel to serve no other function than to ask, "What is your name?" And then we have the vision. Oh, good God, it's coming. So at this point, let me do the round. So, Dark Sith Lord Chord, please, if you will, your reminisce on this moment when you saw it for the first time.
Okay. There is one way to make this make sense, and it goes back to Palpatine saying, "I've been every voice you've ever heard inside your head." We know that this is something he can do. The only way this ending and this film in general makes sense is if Palpatine is manipulating it the entire way through. He's every voice Kylo's ever heard. Everything has happened according to his plan. He tells Rey that if she kills him, he will inhabit her. She kills him. And given what we know about Palpatine and his penchant for manipulating events and hiding himself behind this figure of a heroic politician, would it not make perfect sense for Palpatine to have inhabited Rey, as he said that he would if she killed him, and to go and bury the Skywalker legacy in the sands, and then be hailed by the galaxy as a hero in the body of Rey in order to continue his evil machinations undetected? That's the only way this film can be made to make sense and would make for a much, much better film. It's actually not entirely impossible given what we've seen of this film, but I'm pretty sure that's not what they intended to happen. So the film, this scene, as they intended it to happen, is just a pure, unadulterated insult. This is a girl who is a fan fiction self-insert, who has taken everything from every character she has ever encountered, and at the final close of the film, she then takes the names of characters, the family name of this iconic duo in Luke and Leia. This is just, it is purely, simply, cheaply, but dramatically insulting. The only way you could redeem it is if it was Palpatine's plan all along, but I don't think it was. So it's just utter shit.
Brian, is there any redeeming thoughts on this particular scene, or is it really as bad as it seems?
Can I just take a little control of the slides for a second?
Please do so.
To make one little point. When we first see Rey, she is sliding down from the Star Destroyer, and I think under different circumstances, had we enjoyed the last three films, I think that occurred, especially here, may have been a nice little touch, but we didn't get that. I don't really see any positives at this point. I think the cinema was very quiet, other than the rustling of jackets going back on rapidly. At this point, I really didn't care, but I was having already realised that the ball was burst. I was still sitting here giggling, thinking about all the retcons and what Rian Johnson would have been like at the end of it. So it really didn't matter to me what happened at the end of this, because it was such a shambles from start to finish. And I think they'd realised they'd fucked up, and this was their attempt at trying to get things back to where they were, and they failed miserably. So I was out at this point, really, to be quite honest.
Z3, I'm gonna save Ian until last because I'm looking forward to what he has to say about this scene. But Z3, give me a positive. Is there anything you can take a positive to how this film wraps up? Not only this movie, but the whole Disney trilogy. Can you pull anything out of your memory bank, Z3?
No. at this point, she's buried the lightsaber. She stole the name. She's literally taken everything. Quite as Lord Chord says, the only really way that this could have finished on a high is if, when she asked her name, it just cut to black and you could just hear the Emperor laughing. that would have been perfect for me.
Oh yes, I mean,
But
It,
no,
it
I
did
hate
feel
her.
like
Everything about her. She just stole everything. It's nothing. There was no hero's journey
No,
at
no.
all. Quite literally, everything was handed to her.
yes, it did feel like JJ was trolling almost at this point. But come
savvy,
on,
a really savvy advertising. Sorry, a really savvy insurance company would use, like the way that Starburst once used the Millennium Falcon in its advert. A really savvy insurance company would use this scene under the tagline, "Have you been a victim of identity theft?"
yes, yes, that was a quality meme that went around at the time. Come on then, Mega Geek. I've been looking forward to this. It's the final moment in the final movie, and they finished it off with Rey stealing the lightsaber name and legacy. What did you make of it?
Well, it's Palpatine, isn't it? Palpatine won. I agree. He won. So basically, she's a Palpatine, and yeah. I look. This film is shit. It really is. I can't be asked to talk about this film. This film is shit. It's just a big insult to Star Wars fans everywhere. The ending. There's nothing positive I can take from this film at all. They really destroyed a beloved franchise. Beloved by billions around the world. They literally just shat on our faces the last scene, didn't they? Let's face it. I remember being in the cinema, right? As I can't remember who said it. I went to see this film. The second time I went to see this film, I got 2 seats. Just got 2 seats because the cinema was full. I got there and the cinema wasn't even half full. And I sat there and watched it with my sister. I remember when it came to the ending, somebody in the background behind us went, "There's shit," and he walked out. He started walking out before the credits could roll. So it just mirrors what I thought of the whole movie. It was absolute bollocks. Let's face it, and we shouldn't really pay much attention to this movie ever again. Ever.
What's the famous line? If you want a vision of the future, imagine Kathleen Kennedy's size 15 stamping on your face forever.
I think it's 16s now.
I love how her shoe size has grown over the 3 hours. Absolutely.
It's the only character art we've had in this entire discussion, to be quite honest, is Kathleen Kennedy's feet. Can I go back to slide 88 for a little second here? I just cannot believe that it took one of the most iconic scenes in Star Wars, which has been ripped off in 2 films previously, and turned it into this. Now, Lego Star Wars, this week, someone revealed that they've done it in Lego Star Wars, which is where it would work. It would be funny. But here, it's just fucking unbelievable.
See the 2 characters that we end up with, right? We end up with Rey and BB-8. BB-8 is shat all over R2-D2 because R2-D2 is the most famous robot in the entire world. And Luke Skywalker is one of the most famous science fiction characters in the world, and they replaced it with this girl and this stupid football.
That's not even her droid. She stole that from Poe.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yes. Stole the name, the lightsaber, the droid.
Don't leave anything lying around with fucking Rey Palpatine in the area. Who's had me fags?
I wonder, is that she holding a bag there? Is she? She's got a swag there, isn't she? Yeah,
well, once a scavenger, also always a scavenger. She had a good loot through the old Skywalker homestead.
She's got the remaining jewels from Alderaan in there that she stole from Leia's quarters before she fucked off.
She had a good rifle through Aunt Beru's knicker drawer, and well, on Aunt Beru's knicker drawer, we are going to bring this goddamn thing to a close. I am going to applaud everyone who stuck with us and taken part in the chat. Without you, we are absolutely nothing. With you, we're barely anything anyway. But look, we made it. We did it. We said we were going to do it. Mr. Brown, in the tiniest font possible, wants you to please like and share and subscribe and comment, do all those things, and thumbs up and all the rest of it. We are helping to grow the channel, and he put so much work into it. And he was giving me the reins tonight. I'm sure I'll never get them again after this atrocity, but we had fun nonetheless. Also, links in the description. Jesus Christ, Brown. I mean, I'm drunk and I've got bad eyes, but this is a challenge. Consider donating to the channel. something about a pin message. You know the deal, man, babies. Just do what you need to do. And I just want to round it all off. And look at this for timing, Brian. I mean, if nothing else, I got this under 3 hours. I mean, better than JJ
Incredible.
and Ruin could do. I just want to round off by thanking the panel. Reni, who did have to dive out partway through, who didn't have to endure the second half of this movie, but we send all love and wishes, Reni, and thank you for taking part. And then my fellow guests, all so knowledgeable, so funny. Darth Sith Lord Chord, I've christened you as Rey was christened Skywalker. You're welcome to your new name. Thank you, sir. Your insights, your thoughts, your comments are always most enjoyable.
Oh, thank you, and a brilliant host, and thank you to Mr. Brown for the opportunity. But I think rather than stick with Lord Chord, I might do a Rey and just appropriate a better name at some point in the future.
That's
Lord
fine, and you'll always be
Skywalker.
Lord Chord to me. Okay, Brian, as always, my biggest fan, and thank you, sir, for all your preparatory work. Try saying that after 7 fucking rum and cokes. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you again, my friend.
Thanks very much, Rune. Thanks again to Ian, Ben, Z, Reni, and of course the chat. Thanks for sticking with us all night.
Absolutely. And Z3, or Z3, you've been a shining light, my friend. Thank you, old goldenrod.
Oh, what an absolute pleasure to spend time with you all again to review this blatant attempt at cultural vandalism.
Permission to go and wipe the memory bank, Z3. At least you're able to do that. And last but not least, the Mega Geek. You're always great quality on these Disney Star Wars roasts. So I do
Seriously.
thank you, sir. Well done for enduring with us.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. What can I say? It's absolute shit film. Anyway, whatever.
Well, we are merely weeks away from Obi-Wan hitting us, so we look
God.
forward to seeing
Yay.
what
God.
sacrilege they can bring next. But at the 3-hour mark, I want to thank everyone, and I hope you enjoyed our roast of the Rise of Skywalker. Until next time, goodbye, man, babies.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Looking around at my friends.